early. Hope you don't mind. I'm early by a minute. Oh, snacking. Snap is the word. Staying Master 2 is in the chat. That is exactly who I'm calling, by the way. We're just gonna let people catch up because, timing is important to some people. So they might not be actually joining until 3 p.m. my time, or for some of you, depending on where you are in the world, other times. But I digress. Just reading through your comments. Hello to everybody, especially those who are saying hello in the chat. But how's it going? How you doing? What's up? I don't know. I'm excited to do this. I've been wanting to do this this one for a while, but my scheduling is a little hectic right now. There happens to be a global pandemic, which is making things a little tricky. So it's been a while. Now I do want to preface all of this by saying that I have no way of validating this information. This is someone who came to me and said, I was in Florida. I ran into Jeremy DeWitt. Not like physically ran into, but had an interaction with. Jeremy DeWitt was very aggressive, very, what we've seen on video. Not saying that he's a naturally aggressive person. I'll let you make that determination yourself, but things we've seen on video. And they said, I didn't know who it was until I started seeing these videos come out on my channel, Real World Police. And I went, that's the guy. That's the guy who I interacted with. Words are hard. I interacted with all those years ago, but it was long enough that there's a statute of limitations. It has run out. I can't actually file a complaint against him, but there is supposedly a story there. So we shall see. I'm gonna call him. He is in the chat, so I know he's here. And let me. I had his number floating around here somewhere. I can pull that back up, and we're gonna do this. How's everyone? How you guys doing? Oh, speaking of emails, there's a guy I'm making real mad by answering his questions, and that has upset him. But that's a story for a different day. All right, hold on. Here we go. That's a phone number right there. Yeah, that's what that is. And well, Repo Man, I say alleged because what's to say, and this is nothing against you staying. No audio. Oh, okay. Phew. Got me worried there. I have no way of confirming that this particular incident is true. So just throwing that out there. And volume. Let me check my volume real quick. Is that better? Is there more audio there? All right. That should be good. Let me see. Here we go. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, yeah, this is Sergeant Blue Bacon. For some reason, it was still ringing, or it is still ringing.
Yeah, I'm going to get away from the monitor. So
Gotcha. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, because there is that delay, of course.
Yeah.
So you emailed me. You said that you interacted with Mr. DeWitt many years ago.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Tell me all about that.
Well, okay, I was driving home from work.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Tampa. I live in the section called Town and Country, I was driving down Wilski Boulevard, and I knew that Wilski merged into one lane. So I came down, the left-hand lane because it merges from the right to the left, and I got to the merge. I allowed a car to go in front of me because that's what we do here. We share a lane. We do a zipper maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy didn't want to play fair.
Him? Really? That surprises me, I said sarcastically.
He sped down the right-hand lane in an attempt to cut in front of me, and by the time he got next to me, there was nowhere for him to go.
Sure.
And he leaned on the horn for me to get out of the way. Well, I was almost bumper to bumper with the car in front of me, one behind me, and of course on the other side of the double yellow line was 10, 20 cars. Mm-hmm. So I had to stand my ground.
Right.
He ended up hitting the curb where the curb curves from one lane into the other.
Mm-hmm.
He hit the curb, went across 20, 30 feet of turf, hit another, came down off another curb and almost hit a curb. He might have hit it. Where another street comes in after that second curve. I went on down to the stoplight. I pulled into the right-hand lane because that allows you to either go right or turn, or proceed, straight. Mm. I was going to go ahead and go straight, and I started hearing somebody, fuck you, much, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Use your language. I don't care.
I don't remember being called fuckboy or anything like that. But
sure.
I do remember, hey, you and the gray Mustang. Well, F you and this and that. And I looked, and when I finally did make contact with him, now he was a little bit ahead of me. He was in it was a V6, not a Tundra, but Tacoma, yeah. And I made eye contact at him. He's about a car and a half ahead of me in the next lane, and he flashed what looked to me to be a sheriff's deputy badge. I looked at it; it was silver, just like from about a 25, 30-foot distance. It was silver, highly polished silver, like our deputies do, and it had a map of Florida in the center of it. All our counties have that badge. With the state of Florida on it. They're very proud of that.
Right.
And so I said, holy heck, that guy's a cop. And so he's yelling at me and screaming at me, and he points at the parking lot that was right on the corner that I was supposed to do. So I pulled into the parking lot, into a parking space, and he pulls across in front of me, whereas I could not leave if I wanted to.
Sure.
Now I'm wondering, gosh, when did they get unmarked trucks? Because I'd never seen them before. Mm-hmm. And it took him a while to get out of the truck. And then when he came around the front of the truck, I'm still sitting in my car, I noticed he's wearing a fully equipped duty belt, but he's in plain clothes. Cussing at me, you could have killed me. Like, I was almost standing still. How can I kill anybody,
Right. Well, I'm just going to say I'm glad you didn't kill him, because otherwise all of this wouldn't be happening.
Wouldn't be having all this fun,
Yeah.
I really, I was so mad at him that I just wanted to, I wanted to get out and jump him, but I said, no, the guy had a badge. Mm-hmm. I asked him for his ID, and he, give me your license or registration, so I did. And he takes it over to his truck, and he's writing my stuff down on the tailgate, and he pulled the tailgate down. And I asked him for his ID again, and he evaded the question. About 5 times. And I don't know, he pulled out a little, I think it was like a little camera, and took a picture of my driver's license. Mm-hmm. And I'm going like, well, maybe that's what they do now.
Sure.
Naive as hell, I mean, the number one thing was he wouldn't show me his ID. Mm-hmm. And he proceeded to, ream me out one side, up one side, down the other. Pretty much what you see. Now, this was about 10 years ago. So I know that, statute of limitations and everything, but sure. I have been looking for this guy all this time. And I got to tell you, the way I found him was I was playing around with YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I saw a thumbnail picture, and I didn't even notice the writing on it. I just saw the face. I said, that's him.
That's the guy.
Even had that little mark on his chin.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. And so anyway, I played the video. As soon as I heard "You better figure it out real fast," I knew I had the right guy.
Sure. I mean, I've been. It's been my fault that this conversation hasn't happened, but I've been excited to talk to you about this for a while, just because it's assuming it's true, and I just throw it out there to protect myself legally,
somebody could make it up,
Right, and I don't want legal action against me from him saying that I'm, putting forth an unproven story.
Face to face with his lawyer and my lawyer.
Oh, great! I'll let you know once he files a lawsuit against me. So we've never heard of him actually flashing a badge that was a sheriff's badge, because the badge he has right now is Los Angeles police, right? And I mean, it doesn't say police on it, but you're not going to see that from a distance. And it even has the seal of the city on it.
Right. I looked it up, and you can get that badge. You can get badges custom made, and when it comes to law enforcement, you have to have some sort of certificate or something. You could have faked it or could have sent in Metro State.
Sure.
And then they would have said, oh, Metro State must be something official. And not a lot of people are going to turn down money these days, so they're going to make it for them,
Yeah.
I can get one right now. I can get the exact one with the same badge number if I wanted to.
I looked into it. Now I have all these ads for like, oh, you want to buy a badge on my, on Google, which is frustrating because no, I don't want to buy a badge. I was just looking up how easy it would be. And it's not difficult. You can absolutely get that badge custom made.
I can get a badge 714 with Jack Webb's ID on it. That was, the Dragnet.
Yeah.
Badge. And, you can get it with Jack Webb. It says Joseph Friday on it or something like that. This is the only time anyone's ever pulled me over by flashing a badge.
Right.
And at the time, I think I was down here 13 years. I wasn't totally knowledgeable about what the police departments do down here because I have never been approached by any.
Sure.
Maybe shortly because the guy behind me punched my house really hard, and then when I went back to see what it was, he threatened me with an ashtray, and I'm living a life down here.
I believe. Hey, Florida, it's a crazy place.
It's 93 degrees right now.
It's how much?
93.
Oh, yeah, that would make me angry.
And plus, I don't understand. I couldn't understand a word he was saying because I don't mean to be prejudiced, but I don't speak Spanish. And he was out to hurt somebody. But anyway, with the thing with JD, he really got to me. He knew he was spitting out numbers and subcodes and this and that and the other thing. I mean, just like he did that guy in the Porsche. And blue car guy.
Yes.
Numbers, codes, this and that and the other thing. And I, as soon as I heard him say, you better figure it out real quick, in the video, I knew right away it was him because the voice is exactly the same.
Mm.
I looked, just to make sure, I found a website that had pictures of him when he was released from jail, not too long before that. He hasn't changed a bit.
Right.
His looks have not changed since his first arrest, except for the one time he grew a beard.
Yes, I've seen those pictures. He looks better without it, I think. I'm glad he doesn't still have it.
Can't face the except why. I'm being kind of mean, but no. But actually, by the time he finally gave my stuff back and decided to leave, I was shaking, and because I was thinking, oh, damn, it's going to take me down to Jefferson Street and put me in that jail. And, because he told me, I'm going to give you a verbal warning this time. And if you ever get another ticket by any other any other deputy in the county, I will personally come by your house and drag you to jail screaming and kicking. He was just going off on me. And then,
what? What? That's not, there's no arrestable offense there.
For not yielding the right of way. You know?
That's a citation. That's not an arrestable offense. That's absurd.
I know that.
That's absurd.
And that's when I started to really question him. I was
Sure.
already kind of because he wouldn't show me any ID.
Right.
But he put the badge back under his shirt, so I couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
After he pulled me over, but I saw it. I definitely saw it in traffic. And he says, "You don't know who you're messing with," and things like that. And I've heard that before too.
Right.
So I got too close to the monitor. But it had me sick. It shook me. I was
Sure.
talking to one of the other guys last night for quite some hours. Telling the we say story, don't we?
Mm.
But this actually happened. My kids know that it happened because they asked me, "Why are you so pale?" and things like that when I got home that day. Only one of my daughters really remembers me in that condition at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little out of breath. But anyway, this doesn't have anything to do with Metro State. This has to do with his predisposition to impersonate police.
Sure. I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe it because he has that history, right? He does have that history. So it's
Well, I think before he did that to me, he had already had a impersonation charge for.
Yes.
I'm not sure, but I think it's because this was just about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of coincides with when he started the company. But of all the things I hung on to, I still had the very driver's license I handed him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because they expired, you renew them,
right.
And I've got it right here next to me. I've got friends that are calling me saying, what kind of car is he driving? We'll keep an eye out for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it was back then.
Yeah,
and,
wow.
Because they were saying, you were right next to the police station. It was we call them cop shops, but they're like storefront police stations or, deputy sheriff's office.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, whoever was inside didn't hear what was going on in the parking lot, or maybe they would have checked to see what's going on. Is this legit? Or just, poke their head out, but nobody did. And I didn't think to stop by and report them right away,
sure.
Which was stupid. I just wanted to get home. By that point, I just wanted to get home. I have a tendency, you can tell I'm a little high-strung right now, a tendency to panic attacks.
Right.
And I just wanted to get home.
Right, yeah.
And when I did get home, it took me a while to get from my car to the house. I just sat in the car for a few minutes to, calm myself down and, get in there. But I've been looking for this guy all these years. I've asked a lot of deputies in the county, hey, what's that guy's name that is running radar with this gray Tacoma? And none of them, they were all saying, we don't use that kind of vehicle. We use trucks, but they would have a sheriff's department tag on it. And then we do have some tags that have three of the numbers will be coded. They'll all be the same from one truck to the other, and the other three numbers will be different. So, and it didn't match any of the blocks they had, and I lost the tag number. But coincidentally, the other day, I was online. I think I sent you the picture. I think I found a picture of the truck, and it was wrecked.
Sure.
In the middle of the field. And it's the same color. It's the same make. I don't know about the year, but that sure looks like the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it did have a tonneau cover because when you had the tailgate down, I could see something underneath. It was more than just a spare tire. Who knows what it was?
Right.
And he really shook me out. And the fact that he wouldn't show me his ID. And finally, when I do find out who he is, I called Hillsborough County right away, and they say, well, there's a statute of limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I called Orange County, because I heard that's where he was, I called Orange County, and I talked to a deputy. She put me on hold for a while. She came back, and she says, we got so many charges on right now that you really don't have anything to worry about.
Gotcha. So I was gonna bring this up, and the chat was bringing it up as well. They're saying like you could still add testimony, but they're saying that you don't need to because they have enough.
The problem is the defense, and a deputy told me this. The defense can always say this is just some guy coming out of the woodwork looking for a lawsuit.
And that's true. That's true.
Because that is assault, what he did to me. I mean,
sure.
Like we said, it's false imprisonment.
Right. I was going to bring that up. When he pulled the truck behind you and prevented you from leaving, that is false imprisonment.
Well, I know it's false imprisonment because one time one of my neighbors blocked my father's car in. Of course, now this was in Maryland, okay?
Sure.
Blocked his car in. He couldn't get out. So my father didn't have any choice but to call the police because the guy would not move his car.
Yeah.
And the officer told the guy, you move that car right now or I'm taking you to jail for false imprisonment and harassment.
Yeah.
You know, and believe it or not, harassment's an arrestable offense in Maryland.
Really?
Well, because it involved a motor vehicle.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know if it makes sense or not, but you know, I mean, because I try to look at it from both sides, and but the guy had a real ego. Every time I said something, he had to cut me off. You know, finally I said, "Hey, let's both calm down." We both crossed the line by yelling. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. I get him calm down, and I said, look, I've had a rough day, and I realize you probably had a rough day too because of the nature of your job. Don't worry about my freaking job.
Sure.
You know, I'm trying to understand him, you know, and I still couldn't get the ID from him.
Right. Now,
And,
I'll tell you, for those of you who haven't gone through this sort of thing, if you request an officer to identify themselves, they are required to do so. They are not required to immediately do so, but once it is safe for them to identify themselves with a badge number or whatnot, they are required to. If they're not in uniform, they're expected to have something on them, some sort of credential. I carried two. I had a little credit card type thing that was an ID that showed that I was part of the Department of Emergency Services, and then I also had credentials as an investigator. When I was not in uniform, I was still enforcing law, I carried both those things on me. Not every department will have that sort of thing, but they will be required to identify themselves and give a good indication that they are law enforcement beyond a reasonable doubt. I assume that probably came up between you and him to some degree.
I even asked him if he had a calling card.
Sure.
And you're not getting one, you know, like that, you know.
Right.
Alluding that he had some, you know, if you say you're not getting one, you know, maybe it's because you do have some in your pocket, but he's just pretending he had some in his pocket. The guy, I almost feel sorry for him because since I saw the first video, the charge has been piling up in the last 3 months. You know, getting bail on top of bail. I mean,
sure.
That doesn't happen where I come from. If you're out on bail and you jaywalk, you go to jail.
Yeah, I mean, if you commit anything, generally the condition of the bail is that, well,
you behave.
Yeah, you failed to meet the conditions of the bail, so now we're going to hold you in a cell, and the money that you paid is forfeit to the state, something like that. Yeah, it's certainly, I wouldn't put it, based on what I've seen, I wouldn't put it past all of this. Now, you said, where did you say this happened?
Okay, I was coming from, I guess you call it the north side of Tampa.
Sure.
I came down Dale Mabry, which that's the road that takes you to Consent down here, you know, MacDill Air Force Base. That's only about 8 miles, maybe 11 miles from here. But anyway, coming down Dale Mabry, I went up Line Ball Avenue. You can look this up on the on Google Maps. It's I'll tell you the setup. There's one other thing I wanted to point out that's not related to this, and I'll tell you about that later. But you can find all these places. It was right in front of the Town and Country Church of the Nazarene, and it's just a Christian church, And right in front of there is a merge lane, and there's a curb there, and he jumped that curb. Now, luckily, he didn't hit somebody else. It made a terrible noise. I know it cost some money to realign his front end.
Sure.
Because I'm practically standing still, and he's trying to butt in where there's no room to butt in. I mean, I couldn't let him go if I wanted to, because between me and where that curb came all the way across, and it kind of delineates the lane I was in, there wasn't enough room to fit a truck between the curb and my car.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to push his way through and ended up going right up over the curb. And I'm, he was moving. I say he was moving fast. It was about 30, 35 miles an hour. And you hit an 8-inch curb, it's got to do damage.
Yeah, it's not going to bode well for the vehicle.
No, well, I'm a mechanic. I know.
Sure. Well, there you go. You would know more than I would about that.
I'm going like, boy, that's going to cost that idiot some money, and I just kept on going. I forgot about it by the time I got to the light. But then when he pulled me over and amplified the situation, I mean, sometimes when you make a stupid move in traffic, you just got to, okay, I did it, got to pay for it. You're not going to pretend you're a cop and put yourself in. How does he know I didn't have my PPK in my back pocket?
Yeah. That's some dangerous stuff.
I never turned my back on him. That was another thing I remember. I never turned my back on him, but he kept turning his back on. He had a fully equipped duty belt. It looked like the one they stripped him of in Windermere, where it had the fake gun and a taser.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny about the taser because it was in what looked like a leather box next to his pistol.
Huh.
And, I came back to ask him for his ID again, and I saw that, and I went, whoa, and I backed off, But he kept turning his back to me.
Yeah.
And maybe so I couldn't recognize his face. But, I tell you, I drew a picture of that guy's face, and it's pretty close. I'll find it and put it online. I made my own mugshot, pretty much, and I showed it to some cops. I said, this is about what the guy looks like. I said, it's really close, and you'll know him because he's got a herpes on his chin. That's been 10 years at least. And that was one of, anyway, the hair color is exact. Mm-hmm. That auburn red, color, that's exact. There's nobody that looks like him I've ever seen. His face is square. That's what you do. When you want to draw a picture of Jeremy DeWitt, draw a square first, and then fill it in.
I can't really argue with you on that one. And I'm not saying anything bad about it, just like I got.
No, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I kind of feel sorry for the guy, but all the charges he has now, he's had a lot of practice. Mm-hmm. He's done it over and over and over, and I don't know I don't think I was the first person. Now, here's another thing. That happened like a Monday or a Tuesday. That Saturday, I decided to get some extra hours at work, and coming home from work, I drove past him at Bears and Nebraska.
Sure.
He had somebody pulled over right there. There's some railroad tracks. There's a feed store. There used to be some fiberglass horses out in the yard. He had somebody pulled over there. No lights, but he was writing stuff down. Mm-hmm. And he was pretty much doing the same. And he turned and looked at me, and we made eye contact, and I said, maybe he is a cop. I kept asking questions. Nobody. I finally found a guy that worked on their vehicles. I didn't see him there. I saw him at one, the local cop shop. I guess one of the cars needed something, and I asked him, and he's no, we don't have anything gray.
Yeah.
And so then I said, I think I got pulled over by a poser, and he says, well, that happens a lot.
Huh.
And because the guy's a mechanic, but he's still a cop. He's like a cop that works for the department, and I don't know. Things have changed in the last 10 years. It's all contracted now, but it it not only, shook me, but it made me really mad. And then, because, I reported seeing him the second time.
Right.
But, it's a cold case. It's dead. There's nothing I can do except for just relay my experience with Mr. DeWitt. Now, one thing about this whole thing was when he was photographed in front of Buffalo Wild Wings, bragging about his GS level and everything, which he never had a GS level unless he had a government. That means government service, or what is it?
It's
government sketch.
something like that. It's the pay scale for government employees.
And the guy I talked to last night knows a little bit more about it. He says you don't talk about that. That just only comes up when you get a raise or a review or something.
Yeah.
He was very knowledgeable. Maybe he'll contact you and say who he is. I'm not going to rat on anybody.
Sure.
Well, it's just that me and this other guy have been, trading Jeremy insults before. And I had him call. I asked him to call me last night, and gosh, we talked till like 4 a.m. But yeah, we hit it off, and he's knowledgeable about law enforcement.
Good. Well, it's good to hear this, because I know that there's a video. Was it where they call into someone called Jeremy, and they were talking about like, hey, let's schedule this thing. Tell me about the time you were in the military to get him to try to talk about that. And there was an incident, or there was some footage of some guy saying, I don't know if this was him, but there were 2 people that had taken a ticket book and were writing tickets, and we don't know that was them.
That wasn't him.
That wasn't him.
Somebody.
Okay.
No, a deputy told me the other day that wasn't him. They think they caught the people.
Okay. Good. I'm glad it's not him. I'm glad they caught him.
Orange County says they're going to stop giving out as much public information on TV. But you still get records if you request them through Freedom of Information.
Sure.
And they offered that to me, and I said, no, I think I got everything on them because I got it off of YouTube. Yeah,
we've been working hard to get that stuff. I know Real World Police has been working a lot harder than I have for those records requests. I'm still waiting on quite a few of mine, but
I did want to mention that there's a lot of Hillsborough County police officers on that fan page, and they said they love it. They love it. The time he was in front of Buffalo Wild Wings, when he said he was a major and he lost a brother and all that kind of stuff, and he was wearing the rifle expert badge. It was rifle and pistol. My brother says, you usually get one or the other, but not both. But you can get both. You
can get both.
And he said there's no way he's going to. He pretty much. It was Don Shipley's brother, I think, is a Ranger, and he's the one that put DeWitt on that Ranger Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame thing.
Right.
But the coincidence is where that place is. It's in Ybor City, and I in the background you'll see a SunTrust Bank. I've been to that bank several times. I've been to Buffalo Wild Wings several times. I just never saw DeWitt there.
Sure.
If I had, he would have been locked up.
Right. Would have known.
Or some Tampa General. That's how mad I was. And let's see, I'm at work one day, 5 miles from that place, down Adamo Drive, Route 60, and one of the guys comes up and says, "Hey, you want some good barbecue?" And I said, "Yeah, where?" He said, "Well, about 5 miles from here in Ybor City." I said, I haven't been to Ybor City in a while. We go to Ybor City, and this place had just opened up, and he bought lunch and everything. And I continued, even after I didn't work at that place. Every time I was in Tampa, I'd go to that place. I just never went there the same time Jeremy did. What I'm wondering is, he said in that video that he was at a funeral. I'm trying to remember the name of the place, but it's in the video. the place, the town he mentioned, Bushnell. Yeah, I got a Bushnell scope. Bushnell, Florida, is where this funeral he had done. He says it on the tape. We were in Bushnell, and we decided to come out here for lunch. It's 4 counties away.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you drive? Oh, it's like 35, 40 miles. Why would you drive that far for barbecue when there's good barbecue all over Florida? I mean, it's like, the thing to have for lunch.
Right, yeah, of course.
I know people have preferences, but to go that far out of your way for lunch, and he's hanging out with the cops, and he's telling government, those were government security guards. They were government agents. They worked for the customs office. It's like right next door. And in fact, the lady that he hassled said she was with the customs service. So, it's like everybody goes there that's any way involved with law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens. There's a lot of places like that. Up on the had an Italian grocery store in D.C., and my partner showed me how to get there. We're working as a team as far as replacing switches and plugs. We go in there, and I see all these cops,
Sure.
And then I look, and one of them is my buddy's brother. He was a lieutenant with the U.S. Park Service, which isn't that far from the place. So it's on Benning Road Southeast. Been there for 50, 60 years. It's all family run. And then his other brother walks in, who's an electrician for the city, Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And, so the whole family was there, and I used to hang out with all 3 of them.
Right.
They lived in my neighborhood. But anyway, it's the same deal with this Buffalo Wild Wings. Cops love the place.
Sure.
It's more popular than Dunkin' Donuts, and, don't take that as an insult.
No, I love donuts. Are you kidding? Hold on. Let me. My mouse pad is a donut. I'll hold it up for you guys right there. It's I love donuts. I'm a walking stereotype.
I'm in the other room. I'll catch it on a replay.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
It makes an echo if I get too close to the sound.
Of course. I do want to stop you for a moment. Metro State, or a YouTube channel that is called Metro State with their YouTube logos in the chat, being real upset about this. I just want to take this time to say if they're still here, because they said that they were going to leave because they couldn't stand all the bashing.
I'm not bashing them.
Sure, well, yeah, because it's not about Metro State. This is specifically about something that Jeremy allegedly did. If they're still here in the chat, after this conversation is over, I'd be more than happy to have them call in and we can discuss what was said and anything else that they'd like to talk about regarding recent developments, not only with them, but with the content that I put out. Having said that, please feel free to continue.
Okay. I'm not really bashing him. I kind of feel sorry for the guy because what he's done, he's told everybody he's a ranger, and he's gotten jobs that way. You know, now that's fraud.
That's yeah.
There's potential. Not as far as it being a crime, but he could be setting himself up for lawsuits by claiming to be a ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Because people say, well, we hired you because you said you were a ranger.
Yeah.
Because that seemed to be the number one thing that police officer was interested in when he was setting them up for that escort. That it didn't exist. It was something that they made up. They called in, pumping them for information. Probably one of those. Okay, we'll call you back later, and then instead of calling them back, they arrested them. But when you live a lie and it catches up to you, all your friends, all the people you work with, people that work for you, it catches up that way. I've seen some pictures of, him having, Ranger flag in the office and stuff like that. All that stuff's online. Nobody's making that up.
No, it's if you go through his Facebook for Metro State, you go through, there's a Flickr account. There are a few other things where there's a lot of military themed things. There are pictures of Jeremy DeWitt in uniform.
Yeah. They had him in the Major's uniform with all the fruit salad on one side of his uniform, and my brother says he ought to be arrested.
Well, I looked at the uniform. He's in his ASUs, and unfortunately, the quality isn't good enough for me to really pick out what his ribbons are. I'm looking specifically for ribbons that are, a Bronze Star, Silver Star, Combat Infantryman badge, stuff that would be awarded for combat or valor, because those specifically, if worn, and a person wears them in order to gain personal benefit when they haven't earned them, that is stolen valor in violation of federal law. Now, what he's done is likely still in violation of Florida state law, but federally not so much. So I can't. The quality is not good enough for me to really see those ribbons, unfortunately. The uniform does look pretty accurate. It looks within reason. If there are mistakes, they're within reason.
It doesn't look like it's photoshopped.
No,
I expanded that picture out.
Yeah.
The neck area, where you would attach the head, it's not photoshopped.
Sure.
He actually put on a dress uniform, and there's another officer in the background.
There's a Marine behind him, yeah. He's wearing Army uniforms. There's a Marine behind him, which isn't... I mean, it happens. Sometimes there are joint branch balls or joint branch ceremonies.
We had a post down here at one of those functions, and he was arrested.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that got me is, one, he's wearing his marksmanship medals for the pistol and rifle, which is fine, right?
Because
especially
he can't carry a weapon.
Right. Oh, he can't. That's absolutely true. But he has earned, according to him, the things that he's done would have earned him. He would have had a ranger, a metal ranger tab, a metal special forces tab. I'd have worn those instead of wearing my marksmanship stuff, because it's basically implied if I'm a ranger of special forces, I'm an expert.
You don't
right?
need
like
you don't
you
need
know
that
I'm
stuff.
Yeah. I can hit a target. You don't need to know that I'm an expert. You know I'm an expert. I would have put that on there instead. And that's a personal choice. He is allowed to wear it like that, or he would be if he was a soldier. My thing is that uniform is set up as an officer's uniform. The way that the collar is set up is a clear indicator that that is an officer's ASUs. He doesn't have the shoulder boards for rank. He's not wearing any rank on it. Yep, that's the thing that I was able to say that is what's wrong with the uniform. The rest of it, within reason, if there are minor errors, from what I can tell. And I didn't look too heavily at all of it, but and I'm not super familiar with how officers' uniforms are because I was never an officer. But those shoulder boards do not appear to be on his uniform, and if he's an officer, he would have those. Now, could it be, oh, I was wearing it and I was just, I hadn't put them on yet? Okay, sure.
The same thing with the ribbon for the Purple Heart he would have got if he had parachuted in the Fallujah.
For combat action, yep.
Did we ever parachute into the desert?
That's the question. I'm hearing from, I don't know.
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah. I have heard from people on my channel, and I don't know if it's true. They're like, no, we never parachute into Fallujah. Not near the city. Some people dropped in and then drove in. But mostly it was ground convoys. I can't confirm this. I don't know for sure. But
because I've seen, I've Google Earthed that area while it was happening, just to know. I'm one of those people, I get time on my hands, I look things up, and I Google Earth the area, and it's nothing but desert, So, an airplane coming in is going to be easily spotted, but a person walking in the angle, I think it's called a parallax or something. I don't know. It's like you can't see over the curvature of the Earth.
Yes, yeah.
So they could come in 5 miles away and march 5 miles or whatever to engage, but to have men falling out of the sky being shot at like skeet doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not military. I don't know.
Right.
But I don't think we parachuted in the Fallujah.
I know that Sorry, go ahead.
If he had hurt like that, he would have got a Purple Heart for being injured in a battle zone.
Right.
And he'd be wearing that. If not the medal, he would have been wearing at least the ribbon.
Right.
Because he's.
And that's one of the ribbons I was looking for, but just the quality wasn't good enough for me to really be able to accurately say.
That's another thing you can buy online. is you can buy Purple Hearts.
Yep.
And
You can buy all of that
directional
online.
control. It used to be illegal as hell, but these are almost the real thing.
Yeah.
Because I was making a little. I collect badges and
Sure.
patches and stuff like that. I don't wear them.
Right. Yeah.
I put them on a cork board. It's legal in Florida to collect them. In Maryland, you can't do it.
Really? Wow.
The Maryland State Police patch, if you're caught with that, it's a misdemeanor.
Oh, wow.
You know, if you got one in your shirt pocket and the cop pulls you over for running a stop sign, you're going to jail if he sees it.
Oh, wow. I'll keep that in mind.
But you can get it on eBay all day.
Right. Yeah.
And so I went and bought one on eBay for my collection, and then during I think it was my father's funeral, one of my friends who's a Maryland State vehicle inspector, and he carries the rank of lieutenant, like he carries a gun. I mean, I guess he's a trooper. I don't know. But, oh, yeah, I'll give you one of those. I'm not supposed to, but I'll give you one.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so, you know, well, now I got two of them in my collection, you know.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the collection. I think that I have a collection of weird stuff myself. You know.
Well, I've got other collections that you'd wonder, where do you get this junk laying around for?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't know that you couldn't possess a badge in Maryland.
Well, you can't have the patch is the big thing, because the badges, once they're all right, like let's say they changed the badges. One of the PG County where I live, they changed the badge.
Sure.
Every officer had to return their badge, and they were smashed, and then they got a new one.
Hmm.
And you know, like eBay allows what they call obsolete badges to be sold.
Sure.
Some of them aren't all that obsolete.
Just very small differences.
Yeah. Now, a couple counties, Hillsborough County and Pasco County, I know for sure, they've changed the shoulder patches, so the cops don't have to turn them in.
Mm.
So what they're doing, they take them off and they get about $5 a piece for them.
Sure.
And if you got 5 uniforms, you know, that's okay.
Yeah, not a bad little piece.
But you can assemble a uniform on eBay.
Yeah.
I posted a thing on the fan page club about it was a trailer to that movie, Let's Play Cops, and these guys assemble a police car off eBay. The siren and lights, even got the car from eBay.
Wow.
Because you can buy a Crown Vic on eBay.
Mm-hmm. I've been tempted to. I'll tell you.
Well, you know, it's a damn good car. I mean, you know, paint it all one color,
Mm-hmm.
take the spotlight off of it, take all the top stuff off. It's a nice car.
Yeah.
As old as they are.
I'll tell you, I miss those spotlights. Having one, they're useful. They're surprisingly useful. And then when I drive around, I'm like, I wish I had a spotlight right now. It's frustrating. I've been tempted to put one in my car.
I tell you, for 3 years I worked for Davy Tree,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a contract at Arlington Cemetery to cut the grass.
Right.
And you know that adjoins Fort Myer, and you know I met a lot of military that way. You know, in fact, I had a friend that was a Marine. He came down for a burial detail one time,
Mm-hmm.
and you know it was pretty cool. But I forget. I lost track. Why do I do this?
It's like looking at myself in the future. I'm already losing track of stuff.
No, I'm just overheated, and my air conditioning's not keeping up with the temperature.
Oh yeah, because of that 90 degrees or 90. What was it?
Well, I was working at Arlington. Oh yeah, somebody gave me they actually gave me this tag. It's blue with a single star. It's the Bonnie Blue flag.
Hmm.
So I put it on the front of my car, and I drive up to Fort Myer to cut through Fort Myer to get to the cemetery because my apartment was, you know, in Fairfax. I cut through, and they saluted me.
Oh no!
And just waved me on. They're supposed to stop and check my ID.
Oh, good for them. Well done.
And back then, if you had a firearm, it had to be visible. and I always kept a little 38 on the dashboard.
Sure.
And they never batted an eye. I brought a firearm on a military base. It was legal back then.
Oh, it's killing me because I've worked security at the access control points, and that's exactly what we're told to watch out for now. Maybe not then, but no, we check everything.
Well, I wasn't working security. I was working on the equipment.
Well, sure, but the fact that they would just be like, "Yep, get on in here."
A lot of times I'd come in at night, and you hear things, and you're in the cemetery, you hear things anyway. And some of the soldiers mess with you. They get slingshots and put a penny next to you or something, just to freak you out. And so Wackenhut was the private guard that patrolled the place at the time. I think they've gone back to military now. I don't know. But the guy that was in charge of the Wackenhut, he says, "Yeah, you can carry a pistol in here. You can open carry here." Mm-hmm. And so that's when I got the 38.
Right.
And but if you left the gate, you couldn't open carry. And that's federal property, and normally you can't. It's considered a federal park.
Oh,
or a national park. It's like Yosemite or something like that.
Yeah.
Every veteran cemetery, that's called a national cemetery. They're part of park system. Mm-hmm. So you got U.S. Park Police, you got MPs, you got Shore Patrol, you got 2 counties and the state police patrolling that place at night.
Oh, they don't mess around. Yeah, they take that real seriously out there.
Well, there's grave robbers, and they kept stealing Bobby Kennedy's cross. He only wanted a 2x4 cross, so I had that written in his will. So he's buried right next to John Kennedy, the president, and people keep stealing it.
Oh man!
And that's like the #1 crime they want to figure out.
What hooligan keeps stealing Bobby Kennedy's cross? I didn't know that was a problem.
Oh, there it is. And I told him, I'll make you an iron one, and we'll put it in concrete. And they said, no, we can't, because his will said. And that's the Kennedy. The property they're buried in is like what do you call it? National monument. It's got a eternal flame for John.
Right. Yeah. The
two of his kids are buried there. I think it's 2. It was Patrick, and I think there was one before Patrick that didn't even have a name. I spent a lot of time there. They had a historian. It was a nice place to work. It wasn't all that gross. Mm. I used to kid people, and they say, "You work at Arlington Cemetery?" Yeah, I got over 100,000 people under me. You didn't get it.
I'm sorry. I was. Chat is. So say 100,000 people. Oh, I get it, because cemeteries.
Well, all the soldiers say that, but they call it the guard.
That's 100,000. That is good.
One of the tomb guards, he was Pershing's grandson. Fought to go to combat in Vietnam. Got killed and buried right next to his grandfather, Blackjack Pershing, from World War One. I think it's World War One, but the grandson was killed in Vietnam. I think there's a movie called The Garden. It's about that. I'm not sure, but yeah. Anyway, I just basically wanted to point out that there's these things that Mr. DeWitt's been accused of have some history to it. Take it for what it's worth, okay? Because I live in an area where there's a lot of crazy things going on right now. I mentioned yesterday I live 4.5 miles from Miss Baskin.
Who?
Carol Baskin.
You live near Carol Baskin's?
Yeah, it's only about 4 miles, 4.5 miles. It's 2 miles from where Jeremy pulled me over.
Well, now I'm going to have to ask about that, because who doesn't want to know more?
I will send you a map.
Oh, please. You've never interacted with Carol, have you?
Yes, I did.
What is she like?
She went to my church, that same church that I was in front of when Jeremy popped the curbs. Okay, she went to my church, and I didn't really know her, you know, but I knew who she was because my youngest daughter, when I first moved down here in '96, because you know all that was going on in '97. I moved down here on Pearl Harbor Day in '96, December 7th, and not long after Christmas, my youngest daughter said, I'm going to be going to this place where they got lions and tigers, and we're going to sleep in a treehouse. And I said, what are you talking about? Well, yeah, the church group was taking, it's like a girls' club or something, and they actually did. They slept in a treehouse. There was no animals on the ground to climb the tree and get them, but, you know, it was just an adventure. You used to be able to rent a cabin for the weekend.
Right.
And then you'd be allowed, you know, to pet certain animals and everything, but never a lion or tiger. And my friend Bart, I was staying at his house for a little while, because I was fixing his computer. It was back when we had Windows 98.
Sure.
Wasn't really running that good, so I had to reformat everything. And then when you do that, you lose all the drivers to the vinyl cutter. He did vinyl graphics. Excuse me. And we were repairing the signage on 3 of her vans. And I put the tiger paws down the side of the van. But as far as knowing her personally, you know, we'll say hi to each other at the same store or something, but I mean, you know, you live within 4 miles of somebody, you're going to see them a lot.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Especially if you recognize them, you know. You know, I mean, my daughter being a friend of her daughter. Now, her daughter's like, you know, 8 years older than my daughter, but, you know, the way the school's set up is pretty much they got 4 or 5 grades in each class, and you're working out of a book, and the teacher, you know, individual attention and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of like homeschooling, I guess. Only it's, you know, at church. And yeah, she made friends with a lot of people older than her and was hanging out with them. And my daughter was really precocious back then. I think in first grade, I think. And you know, there's a lot of BS going on. Somebody said something about bulldozers moving into the property when they were doing this filming to hide evidence. They weren't hiding evidence. Lewis used to collect everything, tractor trailers, old farm equipment that didn't work. I mean, you know, just junk, you know. And what they were doing was burying the stuff so they could make the documentary. Oh, yeah. And then Chad Chronister, who's our sheriff, decided this cold case and the stories that are going around, I'm going to solve this. And I remember when Don Lewis was missing, and they found his van and his wallet and keys at this airport he used to go to. But I don't think did they mention that his pilot is also missing?
I don't remember.
Because he had airplanes, but he never had a pilot's license.
No, he did lose his pilot's license. That's right. He had the planes.
I don't know if he lost it or if he never had one.
I think I remember them saying he had his license for like a day, right? A real short amount of time.
I didn't know him at all, you know. But you know, Carol hit me as being like kind of, you know, free spirit type, you know.
That's, yeah.
I mean, you kind of got to be that way if you're going to do that kind of work, you know. And, you know, have a feeling for the animals because they do good stuff. They started out by taking in exotic animals that people didn't want anymore. And then I think I'm not sure, but I think they started breeding some of them, which is kind of like prohibited.
Right. It's certainly something that they were against.
That might be the most illegal thing she did, if it's even illegal. She did not kill her husband. In fact, the meat grinder they accused her of using, she didn't have for a couple of years after he was missing.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
And I saw a video the other day where she said, I couldn't. I have a hard time fitting a ham through that thing, let alone a human body.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to cut it up, and I don't have the stomach for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I live in a crazy area. I mean, CENTCOM is one way, Miss Baskin's the other way. Jeremy's kind of in the middle, where he pulled me over.
Mm-hmm.
And, he took a picture of my driver's license. I hope the cops find it before he finds the house, because I don't live at that house anymore. He's going to mess up the wrong person. But, really, I don't really want to go after him, because he's in enough trouble as it is.
Mm.
And, there's going to be a plea bargain, so anything I add to it's going to get thrown away. And my credibility is, you don't have anything official to back it up. Why'd you wait so long? Well, I couldn't find a guy, I didn't know he lived in, I think he was living in Okie at the time. So, I never even heard of Okie,
Mm-hmm.
But it's near Disneyland and all
right,
that.
Yeah.
I think he kind of lives in Disneyland. I mean,
a little hard. Fancy world, yeah.
He's one of those people. You give him a little bit of power and they take it all. So you let him be a escort guy, and all of a sudden he thinks he's J. Edgar Hoover.
It's, just the way he behaves is a little frustrating for me. That's for sure.
Well, I see this stuff. I see it as it's happening. Like one time he had to turn himself in. That was recently, and he turned himself in. It might have been the wiretapping rap, and he goes to court. But Your Honor, they already had that before they arrested me this time, and this is like and she still put a $5,000 bond on him when he was already bonded for two other $5,000 bonds. He would have gone to jail where I come from.
Yeah, I'm amazed that he is able to keep paying his way out of it.
But I think about the color of lights. I checked that too.
Mm-hmm.
A deputy told me, "We don't give a damn."
They just don't. They don't care.
No, as long as they're yellow. Well, they say amber.
Sure.
It's almost orange, and that purple color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They don't care if he's got one or the other or both, and the state police don't enforce it. As long as you have the correct colors, as long as they're yellow and purple, you're okay. They don't care if you have both or one.
Mm.
That's the attitude, because it's like they're like saying we got better things to do.
Yeah. The deputies don't seem to care. It's, some of the officers.
As long as it's not red or blue.
Mm-hmm.
Red or I don't even know what color the lights are in the squad cars, but I remember when I moved down here, they didn't have red lights on the roof; they had blue lights.
Sure.
And amber and purple don't look like red, but if you mix the two together, they, individually they don't look like red, but if you mix the two
Mm-hmm.
together, if you get them
like
close, they could look red or blue. Depends on your eyesight. People perceive colors different than each other, I guess. I don't know. But the whole thing is, I didn't do anything wrong. There was no way for me to avoid him hitting the curb. That was his fault.
Sure.
And to play cop and freak somebody out and get them so damn pissed off they want to pull a pistol out and plug them. Because somebody said yesterday in the notes along the side that are rolling up right now, that could have been dangerous for both of you. Yeah, you're darn right it was.
Mm. Yeah, and I'm amazed that someone hasn't tried to hurt him before this for what he's done. I mean, not that I want him to be hurt, but it's dangerous, and someone could react negatively to it. He pulls over the wrong person, and he's pretending to do a job or to be a person. Assuming this is all correct, Being a police officer is dangerous. I don't.
I know.
I can't understand why someone would want to put themselves in that danger. Like I did it I got a paycheck. I got a lot out of it. I was glad I could help the community. I feel that I did a lot of good work with inter-community relations and keeping people safe and helping people that needed it. But every day when I would, knock on the door of, an incident where domestic violence attack had been called in,
that's one of the worst calls to go to.
Oh yeah, and like pulling people over, you're always worried that they're going to have a gun, the center console or something like that. So to put yourself in that danger.
Did they ever teach you about the edge of the door?
Yes.
I told the police up home about that, and they don't teach them that. Stay away from the edge of the door because they can open the door and punch you in the gut. Keep your leg closest to the door because if they hit you, the only way they can do it is like a sideways movement, has no strength.
Mm-hmm.
And and also they can open a door, knock you down, pull a gun out, and shoot you while you're laying down.
Yeah.
And that's stuff that friends of mine have taught me that are real cops.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell another cop that they didn't tell us that.
Yeah, it comes down to the training for the department. Some departments emphasize certain things different than, it really depends on the issues that occur in an area. So in an area with a lot of domestic violence calls, they're going to be well trained on, hey, when you knock on that door, stand on either side of the door. So if they have a shotgun, they decide to put a hole through the door, you'll be okay, right? But if there's a department and their area has a lot of traffic stops that go wrong, there's going to be a lot more focus on how to make sure you stay safe during a traffic stop. So it comes down to the area and the training.
There was one police department. It was kind of funny. Only one sergeant did it, and they actually decided to do all the car. He put down Semper Vigilantis or something like that. Always vigilant.
Yeah.
Vigilant. And that means that when you least expect it.
Right. And that's exactly it. Once you become, if you look like you're ready, you're less likely to be attacked. It's called presenting a hard target.
Actually, you have to walk the way Jeremy is.
You gotta be real aggressive like Jeremy. Otherwise,
you gotta walk that way, and you can tell a person that's been in the military because they walk like Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
They know they're overconfident.
They got
not
swagger.
But they're confident. But the thing is with Jeremy, he's faking it.
Yeah, but he does it really, really well. Like I look at him and I go, if I didn't know what I know, I would not believe that he was not a police officer. I think he was a very aggressive one. But in brief interactions with him, I would have believed that he was part of a government agency. 100%.
And that's what happened to me.
Yep, and that's what happened to me. That's what screwed him over.
An actual deputy.
Yeah.
And, I tried to for a couple of days until I saw him pull the other car over. I tried to say, well, maybe he's a detective,
right?
And plain clothes, and maybe he has to go in on a drug bust and lead the uniform guys, and that's why he has a duty belt.
Sure.
And a friend of mine says, you're just making excuses for this guy.
Yeah.
So I was trying to rationalize why would a person in plain clothes have a fully equipped duty belt.
And, why indeed? That doesn't make any sense.
The handcuffs were black, and at the time, only the military was using black handcuffs. Like I say, it was 10 years ago. So
yeah,
around 10 years. It could have been 11, but it was no more than 11. It was more like 10. It was probably just about when he was starting Metro State. And this has, my situation has nothing to do with Metro State. I don't want to have any run-ins with any of the people that work there because they're trying to support their families, themselves, whatever. Everybody needs a job, okay? So, but if your boss is corrupt, be careful because he's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Or hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the wrecked motorcycles and the burnt cars, and that wiring job, I could have done a lot safer.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, I feel that I don't know if there is there anything else about the DeWitt incident that
I just want to stress that when somebody tells you to pull over,
mm-hmm.
maybe I should have pulled up to the front door to that cop shop.
I mean, it wouldn't have hurt if it's right there. It doesn't hurt.
I don't. It's not evading the police. It's, you know, and they're telling you nowadays, if you feel unsafe. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. We just had Nextel. I probably could have called 911 and asked, do you have an officer that just radioed in for a traffic stop? Well,
I advise people to do that
on the truck. He just had a regular car antenna.
Yeah.
But he could. But you know, that little toy thing he had on his belt could have been real. It could have been a real radio. You know, I don't know. It didn't look big enough to be any police radio I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And so I started questioning myself. You asshole! Why'd you let this guy do this to you? And as it turns out, I was right, because look at.
Yeah. And now we know.
Look, I mean, there's videos out there. How many did you make? I mean.
It's been a lot. I expected to do one video, and people liked it. So people liked it a lot, and they had questions.
Everybody likes to clown, and you know, I almost feel sorry for DeWitt, because now his reputation is ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's calling him a sex offender. Everybody's calling him play cop, and they're making jokes. There's you know, the Jeremy DeWitt fan club, which is really meant to make light of the situation. The guy has serious problems. I think he's got some kind of bipolar problem. He blew up in a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Right then I thought, this guy is off his nut. But then I thought, well, he's probably had a bad day.
Yeah, it happens. But
I'm making excuses for a guy that had no good intention towards me.
It shows the quality of person you are, you know, to try to be like, well, maybe this is what happened. But I have a few other people that are hoping to call in, and I'm hoping to let that happen.
Oh,
so
I just want to pass on a
sure.
This is for everybody, okay? Not just cops, but if you know a cop, tell him, get a automatic center punch and keep it in your car. Because when there's a dog or a kid locked in the car, you see these cops beating on the side windows and they can't get in. This automatic center punch, you place it against the corner of the glass and push it, that glass will disintegrate.
Mm-hmm.
And you
pretty
saved a valuable minute, at least.
Yeah.
Because banging on it with the billy club, you'll eventually break it, but you got to build up a lot of stress.
Sure.
And, I mean, stress fractures. But these automatic center punches, everybody has them in where I used to work before you drill a hole, you know. Mm-hmm. And I gave like 10 of them to the local sheriff's office down here. We had a bunch of them at work. My boss didn't know what they were, and I said, well, they make great window breakers. So I did. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, you should have one in your car just in case you come across a situation where there's an animal, or especially a child, inside a really hot car, especially in Florida or California, a place like that, you know, Texas, you know. That's just you know, something I wanted to pass along. My service, what do you call it, public service announcement.
Sure, definitely a good announcement. Well, thank you so much for telling us about your encounter with Mr. DeWitt. It definitely is. I'm glad that we had this talk so I could find out a little bit more about, you know, the early stages of when he was doing his thing.
Did we ever tell the people who I am?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I'm Stang Master 2, okay? I'm the one who has claimed this on the page, and I stand by it, and I would be willing to meet Mr. DeWitt. But, yeah, I'm Stang Master 2. I've already posted a couple of things at the very beginning, and I do want to thank you for bringing this situation to light because there seems to be an epidemic of police impersonators out there, and if we do this to every single one of them, it might be a deterrent. I don't know, but
Sure.
I think it's. I don't think it's anything we can really control, but I'm glad things are out in the open, and maybe we can do something good.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think that some good things are going to come out of this legally to stop it from happening again. But with that, I wish you the best. Good luck with that heat, because I know Florida doesn't mess around with that kind of. It's very humid there.
It's coming down a little bit.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Well, you have yourself a wonderful rest of your day.
Okay, you too, and thanks for at least hearing me out. And,
All right, thank you.
I'm not a fake, but there's going to be flamers out there, so
Sure.
let the flaming begin.
All right. Well,
I'll be in touch.
all right. You have my email.
Yeah, I got your email.
All right, perfect.
And, I'll talk to you or communicate with you later. And everybody on the board, have a happy Easter.
All right, you as well.
Okay,
Right.
I'll
Bye.
catch y'all later.
All right, bye. Chat, y'all crazy. All right. I know, some tangents, folks, but if we hadn't gone on a tangent, we wouldn't have learned that he lived near Carol Baskin. And I wouldn't have had the chance to use that fun little text up there. All right. Hey, everyone, be nice. He had a good story. Y'all crazy. All right. So now I'm gonna call into Jay Pavilion. Just because why not? I got nothing else going on for the next 20 minutes. Now Jay Pavilion has made the Jeremy DeWitt EDM remix, which is a lot of fun. And I figure, since we're all here, by the way, for those of you who are just tuning in or watching this after the fact, this is the part of the show where I just start talking to the chat. So if you don't like a lot of dead air while I wait for the chat to catch up, if you don't like the fact that there is no direction to this point of the show, I guess, if I can consider this a show, the rest of this might not be for you. So I don't want any comments later going, it was really boring, because I'm just going to be sassy at you. All right? I'm going to tell you, I warned you. So I'm going to call him, because I have his number. And I do want to thank, I know some of you thought he was long-winded and rambling, but to me, this is a look into my future for Stingmaster. That's going to be me in 20 years, I promise you. So be nice, because I feel personally attacked. All right. And I shall call now. Here we go.
Hello. Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Sergeant Blue Bacon. We shall see. Hello, this is Sergeant Bacon.
Hi, Sergeant Banker. This is Jay Pavilion 2. Looks like we are going live right now.
Yes, you are live. It is being recorded. I say that for legal purposes. How are you doing?
Good. And you do got my consent for recording per Florida statute and per Illinois statute.
Perfect. So what, I want to ask you about that music, the little piece that you put together.
Yeah.
First, I want to state that your use of him pounding the vehicle and putting that on a loop so it looks like he's having a good time at a rave, fantastic. But go on, tell me about it.
Okay, so basically, like I said, everybody has stumbled onto Real World Police. I've actually stumbled on to his channel too, where I looked up Metro State, I looked up the company as well, and it turns out that like this guy is pretty interesting. For the most part, I mean, we've got so many videos of him doing really dumb stuff, illegal stuff, and stuff that he was personally charged with. So I think the one thing that made me start this song is to start creating it is that, when you have a trend going on, you gotta start somewhere to grow your channel.
Mm-hmm.
And with Jeremy being so interesting too, I decided, okay, let's go ahead. I'm gonna try to make the best I can, and I've been doing this since 2014, 15.
Sure.
I have a SoundCloud as well, and I decided, okay, let's go ahead and do it. So I produced it. I made sure that the mixing, the production of the song was good. Make sure it was a little bit funny. Now, I did have one claim from that
Really?
from that video saying that, like, hey, you should have put at the end, I'm out of gas. Yeah, I know. And to that person that said that, I know I should have done it, but I forgot to put that on.
That'd be the extended mix.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm actually trying to do a part 2 of that song. Actually.
Good. Now, do you do all the music as well, or is it just the cutting his voice and matching it to music?
No, what I do is I downloaded samples and DSP plugins into a DAW. It's Ableton Live, and
yes,
it's a program where you make music, and that's kind of where I started learning about how to make EDM music, how to make certain types of music, and that's the reason why I pretty much decided to do a Jeremy DeWitt.
Sure, and it worked. When I mean, it was out for like 10 minutes, and someone said, "Hey, you need to look at this," and I did, and it was like 50. I don't know, 50 other people had seen it. Maybe it wasn't 10 minutes, but it was the same day for sure.
Right.
And very few people had seen it, and I'm just like, I'm just watching it, just losing my mind, just because why hadn't I thought of that? And now I'll tell you, because I was planning my own musical DeWitt thing, and I was watching it like, this guy stole my idea, because now I'm gonna look like I stole it from him. But I'd been planning it, but no, I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's really good, and like I didn't even think it was gonna be that good. I thought it was gonna just go probably 100, 200 views. I wasn't gonna really see it, and then you shared it, and that actually really made my day.
Oh, good.
Of course, going with this whole it really made my day. I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe this is happening. Like this is awesome. I got another channel that featured my channel, and it's honestly nice to see, I guess, everybody coming together and basically sharing each other's ideas and thoughts. And I think this is one of the most wonderful things I've ever got in my life.
Well, good. I'm glad I could help. I know that when I'm putting some text up on my on my stream, just saying, with great power comes great responsibility. I know when I was new, and people were like, "Oh, check out what this guy is doing." That was a lot of fun, and I was really excited. So it's nice to be in that position where I don't consider myself, like a major channel or anything like that. And for those of you who appreciate what I do, I appreciate you back. But it's nice to be in a position where I can point people in a direction and get those views. And it was great. So I'm glad that you liked it. That I did that.
Yeah, no, and I did, it's really appreciative. Now, I just want to touch on a topic right now, and
sure.
I'm reading the comments as well. So Metro State was actually in the chat, and I was actually surprised that he was in the chat. And I go, whoa, let me double check. So I double checked. I put Metro State, double checked with all the channels. There's a lot of fakes of Jeremy DeWitt. Turns out it's him. I mean, it's got to be him. Bad spelling, warrant. He doesn't know how to spell warrant. He puts warrant. I mean, what is going on?
Right. He pops in. I don't know if that was actually him. It could have been anyone running that channel. That channel has messaged me on my channel, which is how I got the interview with Jeremy. By the way, I'm trying to get that out today. The part 2. Okay. I've had some technical issues. Obviously we know about the audio. It's just the computer's been running slow. I'm doing it on my laptop from an SD card, which has slowed things down considerably. So I'm trying to get that out today for all of you who are waiting on that, and I apologize for that being so long. But yeah, I got the interview with him because the Metro State YouTube channel was like, "Oh, you're just gonna bash on this guy?" Like, no, I made my video. I talked to a few people about it. I put out more information as it's come out. I would love to talk to him because they're like, "Oh, you're not gonna, like, you're gonna talk about it, but you're not gonna contact DeWitt." I'm like, I sent an email through the website. No, we monitor it. I'm like, then I don't know what to tell you because you missed it. But let's make this happen. And then we did. And, you know, it's not much of a prying interview. It's a very basic, tell me your thoughts on these matters. I'm not trying to incriminate him. I'm just trying to get his side of the story. And it's really interesting, I think, to find out how he thinks about this, how he perceives what's happening. So it's not like he's going to be like, oh, you know, I killed a man, and then we get to put him in jail for that. No, it's basically how he justifies his actions is what that interview did. So for those of you who are looking for more than that, I'm sorry. But I wasn't able to get an interview any other way, or approach it from any other direction. So yeah, no, that YouTube channel has been floating around, my stuff for sure. So I don't know that it is him necessarily, but it's definitely someone associated with him who keeps in touch with him.
Right, and I don't want to accuse him. I don't want to accuse him of, framing him as a bad person.
Sure.
It's just when you got a trend going on and when you want people to know who he actually is, I don't want to put him as a bad guy. It's just, you see what's going on YouTube, and I kind of feel bad for the guy too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's got so much potential, and the company. I mean, it's a good company.
It's a great company. Yeah.
It's just the way he runs business, and and people condone his actions. I mean, I don't know if they condone it. I'm just saying, like, could be, but I think what needs to happen is he just needs a whole career change, and he just needs a whole career change. Do something different, maybe be in a movie, do something different, maybe be in a song. I don't know. Like, hey, he can come out and reach out to me. But what I'm scared is I was going to actually interview him. I was actually thinking about interviewing him. Mm-hmm. But the problem that I would encounter is I don't want him to, like, maybe hang up a couple times. I don't want him to, like, let's say he gives me a subpoena or, like, something happens. Like, I have to go to court now. I got to go all the way to Florida to do something. But,
right.
I don't want to do all that, so I don't know, like, how do I approach him with an interview? Like, I know, you probably, like I said, you got a lot more audience, and you know how to do interviews. I see with me, it's just like I'd ask them the basic questions too. But like if I would ask them the questions like, well, what do you think when you're doing your job in like the funeral escorts? Like, what gives you that authority to pull people over? And he'd probably be like, no, not good. He'd be like, no, I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I asked him some of those questions. Before I even recorded his audio, I said, here are the questions I want to ask. Do you have any issues with any of these? He said, I won't answer that one. I won't answer that one. The rest are fine. Right. And during the interview, there was one question I came up with, and I'm like, hey, are you going to be okay with answering this? And he went, no, I cannot talk about that. Please cut that question from this interview. And I did. And so now he's really upset with me. He's sending me these emails like, oh, you used my mugshot. Like, well, it's the best front-facing picture of you I have. I'm sorry. If that offends you, it's too bad that you have a mugshot. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that mugshot is public in either way. So
you know who that is. People recognize that particular picture. I'm like, well, this is a good picture to use. He is not happy with that. But I have complied with his request prior to the production of the interview. I deleted what he didn't want in there. And I'm not his enemy. He seems to think that the fact that I'm taking other sides of this story and finding out more about it makes me his enemy. But I'm just taking all sides. And I can't help it if more people are reaching out to me with negative sides of the story than are reaching out to me with positive sides. I'd be more than happy to talk to someone about the positive sides of what DeWitt is doing and how he behaves. But that unfortunately, that's not what's happening. And I think that perhaps that's because there is a lot of negativity, and that's going to be a problem.
Right. And for Jeremy to clean up his act, he needs to start with phase one. He needs to start responding to certain things where, people might be like, okay, it is whatever you did was bad, but it's time that, the past is the past.
Yeah.
It's time we got to clean up our act. It's time that we got to do things differently. And honestly, he's a YouTube celebrity. I really hope he checks out one of my videos. But then again, I don't want him to say I'm bashing on him or framing him as a bad person. But I mean, he just needs to do something different with his life. And the fact that he was on the chat saying, as I'm reading the chat, no one's gonna listen to me, no one's gonna hear my side of the story.
And here I was being like, no, I will call in. Why aren't you responding to me? Oh, because they know. I
spammed him. I replied to the thing. I spammed him like, yo, call in, and he doesn't want to call in. It's like, wow.
Nope. No, you can say you're the victim all you want, but let's talk about that, right?
Right. It's just like man, we should honestly me, Jeremy, you, and maybe someone else who wants to be in this interview have a conversation, all four of us, and then just to explain anything that the company has to say or whatnot, because dude, he's got a good chance that this company could go on. And the reputation's kind of bad, but I mean he can flip that around pretty quickly and make his good reputation. Now I'm looking at the chat right now. It's saying Tito Ortiz, do you believe yesterday's caller? I mean, I was there. I was there on the live stream yesterday, and I believe it. If that was him, if that was one of the former workers on Metro State, and you're confirming that, I believe it.
It was. APR confirmed it was. Without any information, gave me the name that I had received from this person. Said that's this guy.
Wow.
So that was an employee. From everything I can tell, that was an employee. APR we know is an employee. And that comes directly from DeWitt himself, saying that APR is an employee. So I trust APR to know. APR is the person who's sort of trying to take care of the company, yes. While Jeremy is involved in his things that he's involved with. And APR has been very receptive to what the police have been saying. And it's saying, okay, yeah, we need to change this. This is how we need to proceed. This is how we need to do this. Jeremy has not been very receptive. He's been very negative towards the advice from law enforcement. He's like, I don't need to do it this way. I don't need to do it that way. We've been allowed to do it like this. We've been allowed to do it like that. And that's, I think, the problem is if this had happened and DeWitt said, oh, gosh, I had no idea. Here's my explanation. But how can we fix this? I think I wouldn't be here talking about it today. I'd be like, all right, that was a one-time video, whatever. But he has an ego, and I get it. He's built his company. He cares about his company. Now people are coming out and bashing it. I get it. But if he had handled it better, if he just said, oh my gosh, I see what I did wrong. Cool. We're going to work with police to fix this. People would be like, wow, what a great guy. But now, you look at my chat, I'm trying to be fairly neutral. I'm not neutral. For those of you who are like, yeah, he's totally neutral. I'm not. But I try to be as neutral as I can, right? I have some very strong opinions about some of these things, but that doesn't mean I can't be a reasonable person about the situation. We look at the chat, and the chat's just going crazy on this guy. And I can understand that because of what has happened. So if he had approached this a different way from the beginning, because now, good luck. From the beginning, I don't think it would have been like this at all.
Right.
But he can't. He just can't.
Yeah, he needs to put his good foot forward, and basically, look, he's got an audience, and real world police can say, hey, we'll promote Jeremy to say, hey, his actions are changed. People aren't going to believe it the first day or the second day or the third day. But give it some time. People forget things, and I feel like, Metro State does have a potential in making itself a good company. Yeah. And one other thing, too, and I've noticed this. I probably lost my train of thought here. But, again, I try to be neutral with this. I don't want Jeremy to come up to me and actually, on my channel saying, hey, you're going to be served in court and whatnot. But one other thing, too, is that I think what we should do is focus on maybe just the Metro State business and Jeremy. A lot of people are talking about the wife here, and like I said, I don't even like that either. I think that's getting way too personal. Yeah. I think we should just keep it very, very, very centered on Jeremy, because the wife has nothing to do with it. And I think our viewers or, your viewers should know that too. Hey, we should just focus on Jeremy, not get the family involved. Let's not get, let's not dox people here.
No,
doxing and stuff. Yeah, no, Yeah, and so like, I mean, if we have, like I have respect for Jeremy. Like, if he's watching right now, Jeremy, I'm just letting you know, like Metro State and everybody else, I got great respect for you. If you guys want to interview me, let me know. But that's the thing is like, I'm just saying like, companies do bad things too. Like I said, we've got like other companies like Tesla and Walmart. With other companies, they've done some things too. But that doesn't mean like you have to bash on those companies. I mean, if you don't like the company, don't go to that company. Like Metro State. If you don't like Metro State, don't go to Metro State. It's simple as that. But I mean, with the fair respect, I mean, we should just respect others as much as we can, just so we can have pretty much a neutral conversation. We can have Jeremy say the story, say what he needs to say,
right,
and just stuff like that, But I mean, that's the thing, and Jeremy just needs to clean up his act.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And if he's on the chat right now, and if he's there, Metro State, just say your side of the story. Just be straightforward and be honest. That's about it. I mean.
And Metro State, like Jeremy, he's given part of his side of the story. The problem is there's a lot he's avoiding talking about. Some of that is because he is currently fighting a legal battle, and it would not be in his best interest to discuss it, because what's going to happen, right? How can he possibly benefit from saying, oh, well, the way that we impersonate a police officer was. No, that's absolutely would be the wrong answer for him to talk about that. But for things he's not being charged with, stolen valor. He will not respond to me about stolen valor. He still emails me. He will not respond to me about stolen valor. So those of you who in the chat who are asking about that, he's claiming that he isn't receiving my emails. He's emailing me back going, why aren't you responding to me? I'm going, why aren't you responding to me? Right? So I've emailed APR and said, hey, tell him that I am getting his emails. I'm responding to him. I don't know why he's not getting them. So I haven't gotten an email from him in a couple of days. I don't know. But those of you who think that APR is Jeremy, I'm not saying Jeremy's never used APR's account, but APR is a separate person. I can't confirm that. So, for those of you who think they might be the same person.
I'm looking at this thing. I'm looking at the picture, too, of Jeremy DeWitt with the stolen valor. And it's like, if I were to look that person, I'd be like, oh, was he in the military? Was he doing something in the military? And that's just speculation, That's, speculation. But, I mean, it's just like, if I were to see, that's my personal opinion where, hey, that looks like somebody in the military.
It certainly does.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's like, I mean, what anybody else can, everybody else can say the same thing, too. But, it's just, you look at things and you make assumptions, you make judgments, and I get that he gets very, 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 like, I would say in the chat, butthurt. He gets butthurt by it, but, I get it, like, he just needs to clean up his act. I keep saying that, but it's like, I mean, if he just does that, if he just does something differently, he could definitely put his life around, change his whole life and whatnot. And, another thing, too, actually, was the video of the one thing that strikes me a lot is that video of where he's telling the guy in the Porsche, like, hey, fuck boy, this and that.
Yeah.
I look at that video, I'm just like, wow, like, that's
is that the one where the guy goes, are you a police officer? And DeWitt goes, don't worry about who I am. Is that one?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's that one, yeah.
Here's my thing. If you're getting I'm gonna calm myself down for a second. If you're going to claim that you are not impersonating a police officer, why aren't you telling people that you are not a police officer? If someone says, are you a police officer? Your answer, if you are not one, should be, no, I'm not a police officer. Especially if you're wearing the uniform that is, or a uniform that is indistinguishable to the average person from a police officer uniform while you are directing traffic. The statute does not allow them to direct traffic at all. So the fact that he's wearing the uniform, directing traffic, and not telling people whether or not he's a police officer is a huge deal. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. That is the problem.
He doesn't understand that. He goes, no, because the police let me do it. Like, not anymore.
Right, now he's got so many problems with, he's going in with the law several times. And here's the thing, funny enough, I was actually in Florida, in Tampa, twice in Tampa.
You ever encounter him?
I really wish I did. I really wish I did, because, like, honestly, like, if, being like a tourist there, I go there, I'm just like, oh, you know, I see these like cars with purple and amber lights going by down the road, and I'm just like, I'd probably ask my friend, like, hey, are these cops? And no, I'd be asking Uber drivers, hey, are these cops? Because like you don't know. This is Florida.
Yeah.
This is a different state.
Yeah,
And
maybe
it's
they use
like,
different lights.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you look at that and you're like, oh, are these police officers? And that's the thing is like, it's just, man, it's just this is a whole jambalaya mess. You know, he's got so many cases going on, and they got a whole website dedicated to him. This is big. I'm saying this is really huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, poor guy. I mean, there's so much attention focused on him. It can't be easy. But that doesn't mean I agree with what he's doing. I think that
Right.
he has absolutely broken the law, but that doesn't mean I can't be sympathetic towards someone who is facing all of this. Now, did he do it to himself? Yes. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But does that mean he's not a person? No, it does not. So it's a whole, it's a thing. It's a whole.
Oh, can we talk about the time where he got arrested in Chicago?
Oh, let's do it. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Dude, I can't believe. Yeah, and literally that's my hometown, Chicago. And he was literally here, like probably miles from where I live. It's crazy. And the police being there and him saying Sergeant, you know, or Roger Sergeant. It's so funny. It's so funny. It is just like, I look at that video. I looked at it several times, and call me crazy, but I looked at the video like 100 times. I replayed it 100 times. And the more I view it, you know, I'm actually so much on that cop side.
Yeah.
Like, do you think the tow truck driver would pull out a big screwdriver for a woman that's half of the size of the tow truck driver?
Yeah, and nothing checked out about that. Yeah, nothing. I mean,
right.
I think I did a stream on that. Basically, the officers are like, yeah, like our evidence doesn't show that. I think they had some sort of footage of it that we didn't know about, that we didn't see, just based on what they were saying. The tow truck driver's like, no, I didn't even know she was there. I pulled out the screwdriver to detach to undo the parking brake or something like that on the vehicle.
So what happened was, I think, in the video, what happened was he was trying to pull the truck out, you know,
yes.
with tow. And it turns out that one of those trucks with a Chevy Tahoe, they have an electronic parking brake. And so I think what Jeremy did was he put the electronic parking brake because, you know, he thought Chicago, someone's going to steal his rental car, which is silly. So basically when the tow truck guy tried pulling it out, he noticed the tires are probably dragging, and he's like, all right, yeah, I got to put it on like this sort of like dolly thing or whatnot. And therefore, you know, when he was doing all that, that's when all you hear is boom, 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 throwing chairs down from the 6th floor. And he claims it was the 4th floor, but it's actually, you know, from the 6th floor.
It was, yeah. Some of the paperwork got it wrong.
Yeah, and it's like, when the cops pulled up, according to the claims by the tow truck driver, that he was still throwing chairs when one of the police officers still pulled up to that scene. And I think what Tito Ortiz is saying, he actually said he told his okay, so yeah, so Jeremy said that he was a federally state certified agent in Florida for Metro State.
Yeah, which he is
when
not.
He put state and well, he's not. No, he's putting federally and like federal and state. Does that make any sense?
He said he was. Yeah, he said he was state certified. Yeah, a state certified agent, I think is what he said.
He says hall monitor. Keith is saying hall monitor. That's funny.
Yeah, a state certified agent, or what is that? That's not I don't know. He's not certified by anything. He's certified to drive motorcycles. Sure, like I'm certified to drive a car. Does that make me a state certified agent? An agent of what? Of chaos? Maybe. I don't know. But you don't say that to a police officer, because obviously that's going to make them think, oh, law enforcement? And you don't want that. Don't play that game. That's absurd. Now, when it comes to the idea of like, oh, they had a screwdriver, they were threatening my wife. The wife didn't even want to, say that. I don't think at any point she actually said, yeah, he threatened me. DeWitt was coming up with the story. Now, I don't think there was anything. I think, yeah, he's like, a screwdriver, I'll run with that. That's my defense. Here's what I think. And it's frustrating because you can't throw metal chairs at someone from a 6th floor. I don't care if they're stealing your car. Like it's a tow truck, right? Get their attention, have a conversation. It's that simple. Now,
right, or call the police.
Or call the police. Call the real police. Right? So, it's what had happened. He's renting an Airbnb in that apartment building. The person who had rented the Airbnb to him said, hey, you can park in this parking lot. The owner of the building, hence the owner of the parking lot, was like, no, you can't park here. Tow this vehicle. So there was some confusion there. He thought that he was allowed to have his vehicle there. He was not. I don't think he was throwing chairs because of a screwdriver. I think he was throwing chairs because he's like, hey, don't tow my car. I'm allowed to be there. Now, was I there? No. Do I have evidence of this? No, but the police sure didn't seem to side with him about this screwdriver thing. And there's generally a reason for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, like, the cops viewed that, and they were, like, all just questioning each other, like, should we call it a king? Should we just, because he threatened him with a gun and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, I think they arrested him twice before they said on the second time, yeah, let's go ahead and pull it a king,
Yeah.
Which I think king, in my opinion, means, like, arresting.
Yeah, I think king, someone told me what it was. I think it was arrest.
Mm-hmm. Or detaining him, or something like that. But anyways, that's besides the point. That's getting into different topics. But like, honestly, like, when that probably messed with his mind. I seen the comments are like, yeah, they probably messed with his poor little mind. His ego probably got shot at that point. It's like, oh, I'm getting arrested twice. What's going on here? He's probably like all like confused. It's like the way he was telling the officers, yelling at,
man.
at his, yeah.
He's trying to dominate them. He's trying to say, I'm more important than you. You don't want to mess with me, right? Bad move, because guess what? Mm-hmm. They're not going to respond well to that. Not necessarily violently, but a police officer generally isn't going to be, well, that's not, maybe I'm wrong. I am not swayed by people trying to use authority on me. Like, cool, you want to play who has the, well, I'm not going to say the phrase I was going to say. Who wants to, nope, I got nothing that is not inappropriate for comparing who is more important. But if you play that game with me and I'm on duty, I have this thing I call the asshole tax. If you're going to be an asshole to me, and I have the officer's discretion to arrest or not arrest or charge or not charge or whatever, and you're an asshole, cool. Well, I'm going to give you that citation or do whatever, right? If you were reasonable with me, we can talk it out. I can explain what's wrong, and then you can go have a lovely day. But if you're going to yell and scream and pull rank or whatever, and I say pull rank because I did this in the military, but in the real world, you have people like, no, I'm more important than you, even without the rank. If you're going to try to play that game, cool. Well, you can see how well that works out for you in court if you decide to fight this ticket. Have a lovely day. So it's who has the biggest brass? That's a good one. Devil 93. That's But it's just a stupid game to play. But he's playing it.
Right, because police officers are there to help. They're here to protect and serve.
Well, that's the intention, yes. I'm not going to say every single one of them does that. That is the point, though. Yes.
Right. Yeah, because we can't. Yeah, exactly. Because not one person's going to represent everybody. It's just like it's usually a case by case thing. And going back to that Chicago arrest, I'm looking at the report right here, and it's saying he was a U.S. veteran. He was a special agent from Orlando, Florida. I'm like, wow, you really have the balls to say that. I mean,
I want to contact them and say, why would you think he was a federal agent? Why would you think he was a veteran? And see if I can get any information about that.
Well, Chicago police officers, knowing them, one of them personally, it's just like some of them have more important things to worry about than, a simple title. I mean, this is my opinion too, but I mean, Chicago police officers are like one of the best police officers, well, everybody's the best police officer if you you do your job right. Yeah, but I'm saying like in Chicago, we got one, best police officers there, and it's like, they got more things to worry about than worrying to run a quote unquote a check on, if he was in the military or not. So, I mean, they probably just put, okay, you are this? All right, there you go. You are that, and then if that gets him later on, then that's his problem. That's not their problem.
Well, what I want to know is if he told them that specifically, if they checked that box, not necessarily if they checked it, right? If they confirmed his identity or whatever, but if they went, are you a veteran? He goes, yes. they check that box, I'd love to know if that was what happened. I don't know if anyone would remember it, the exact incident or the case.
I'd have to ask one of my buddies. He's actually a Chicago police officer.
Sure. I mean, if they have information on that, that would be great.
I'll have to ask him if what's the process of that. Like when somebody arrests you, or like, can you check off a box or something? Like I'll have to look into that because he's 25 and he's a lot older than me. He's actually police officer for Chicago, so I'll actually ask him. I actually got a Snapchat, so
sure. Yeah, I mean, feel free. Let me know.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, when you see these serious events in Chicago, I mean, I can't believe it was in Chicago. Like, I thought this guy was just solely in Florida. Like, okay, this guy's, Florida things happen in Florida. But to see him in Chicago is like, it hits home. It really hits home. And I'm just like, wow,
It's crazy. I want to know if there's anything about him in Egypt, because his wife has a home in Egypt or whatever. I believe that's where she's from. So, like, does he have a history there? What's he like in Egypt?
Yeah,
I want to know, but
I would want to know too, honestly, because I mean, somebody put in the comments, probably as like a troll comment, but let me look it up real quick. It was in my music video actually, or in maybe the edit I did. I'm gonna check the comments right now. But yeah, somebody said like, yeah, he was in. Yeah, he said, oh yeah, let me see where it says. Oh, it's probably my other video. No, somebody said that like his house in Egypt and like his dogs were barking or something. Maybe somebody made a troll comment on that one, but that was pretty funny though. I saw that one. No, I can't see it. Whatever. But somebody put it on my video saying that his house in Egypt, there were a lot of dogs barking and his neighbors hate him. That's what somebody said in my comments and one of the comments in my video.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's man, this guy's got a huge history. I mean, I'm surprised. Oh man, I mean, the website too. It says a lot of good things about the website. I mean, where he, when he started his company, the social media, the Flickr. Now that Flickr website, I've actually looked into that. A lot of dirty stuff from that site.
I've saved a lot of photos from that site in case he takes it down. I'm amazed that he hasn't just taken everything down. Just absolutely amazed. And I've gone through it and I've saved what I think might be important later. Through his Facebook as well. And his mother's Facebook. I've stolen stuff off his mom's Facebook. Like I'm all over the place with this. Just in case.
I just want to clarify. I mean, when I mean dirty like pictures, it's not on his Flickr account exclusively. It's actually on the group that he follows. Let me just clarify that.
Yes, I do know about that. Yes.
That. Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting. It's like when you look at these groups, it's like you see his personality on a deeper level. And when you get really deep into it, there's no going back. There's no like, oh, it's going to be a 1 day or 2 day thing. No, this is going on. I mean, I've been following this guy since last December when I was in Florida, actually, in Tampa, Florida. It's crazy. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It's all over the freaking news and whatnot. And like I said, he doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve to be put out like that. He deserves to be living his life like how everybody else does. But if he's going to be doing stuff that people are going to allegedly tell him he's doing this, he's doing that, it's going to create a lot of, what's it called? Ego on his side of the story, It's going to be a lot of history on his side of the story. But that's kind of what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in Chicago, stuff like that, man. When it just hits home too when it comes down to Chicago as well.
Yeah, I hope he figures things out. Right. Yeah, I hope justice is works as it is intended to work, and I hope it helps him.
Right. Honestly, because it's like, wait, I'm looking at the comments right now.
Yeah.
Oh, the Fallujah one. The Fallujah.
Oh yeah. Boy. So I'll tell you, like, the reason I don't know is, 1, I wasn't there. 2,
right.
I have no idea. 3, I know that the Army Airborne, the 101st, I believe, was involved in that. And they're known for jumping into stuff. Did they jump there?
Right.
No idea. So that's why I say, couldn't tell you. Sorry.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting topic to talk about, because it's like, it's actually one of the most boring videos from Germany, honestly, or from real world police. I actually look at them, it's like, it's kind of boring. There's nothing really juicy with that. But I mean, it's interesting though. It's still interesting. From what I know, is like, I guess like an Army veteran was calling in. He was actually a real Army veteran, asking Jeremy several validation questions about, what did he do in the Army, what did he not do in the Army. So it's an interesting video. So I mean, I did enjoy that video as well from Real World Police. I wonder who runs that channel.
I know their first name. I don't know their last name.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Is he one of the sworn officers in probably one of his counties or something?
I don't believe so.
Officers?
He's just a guy who was real good at records requests.
Oh, that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. And I'm just looking at the website too, and man, this is like a whole biblical thing about him, dude. It's crazy. It's man, it's crazy. And by the way, what is that Explorer program that Jeremy is talking about? I looked into it, and it turns out that it's like a go away thing. Like you pretty much like train to be like not a police officer, but like you pretty much like train to like learn all about what being a police officer is. Is that what it's actually about?
It's, from my understanding, it's between the ages of 16 and 18. You learn about law enforcement. You can do ride-alongs. It's basically preparing people in high school who think that they want to pursue a career in law enforcement for that sort of thing. It's like a ROTC program. If you guys are familiar with that, ROTC it happens in college. And then JROTC happens in high school. It's a program for people to get used to that sort of lifestyle. ROTC being military. But the Explorer program is sort of an offshoot of Boy Scouts of America, or the Venture program, which is still Boy Scouts of America. And yeah, it just gets people involved in law enforcement, gets them a better idea of how law enforcement works, and prepares them to be law enforcement if that's the direction they want to go. They're not law enforcement officers. They are not anything like that. So when, like, DeWitte has told me, he's like, look, yeah, I say sometimes I was a police officer, but everyone says that who's in the Explorer program. That's just what we call ourselves. Cool. Well, you're now 39 years old. Stop saying that. Not hard.
Right.
Stop saying it.
Right.
Problem
so
solved.
Police Explorer program. Yeah, because that Police Explorer program is just like, quote unquote, it's just like a little thing you just join in. It's not really you train anything in there. And I think that like what he's thinking is like he got trained in there for him to say, okay, I got a taste of what police officers do in day-to-day things.
Yeah.
And the one thing about I'm kind of confused about this gas station thing when he got arrested or he got charged with police being a fake cop is what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words here, but he went to a gas station in Moby or Mobile. I don't know why I said Moby. That's funny. But according to him, he went to that gas station, bought gas, but the car got declined, and then the clerk said, or the cashier said, "Oh, you're trying to steal gas." How does that even work when you're trying to steal gas with a car? Like, doesn't the car decline and you don't get anything?
So he had already filled up on gas, I think, and then he went in to pay. It's like $11
Was this
gas.
back in 1990? What 1990?
This would have been 1998.
Okay.
So at the time, maybe that was just how it was working. Or somewhere. I know he was 18 at the time. He's born in 1980, so I assume 1998. He goes, "Don't worry, I'll be back to pay it. I'm a police officer. You can trust me." And then leaves. And I believe he did come back to pay it. But the fact that he says, "You can trust me, I'm a police officer," he might have showed a badge. I'm not really sure. That's impersonating a police officer. Because he's not a police officer. And he's banned from that gas station for 5 years.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to him to say that, I mean, he should have just said at the end, "JK."
Yeah.
Just joking. That probably would have got him.
No, yeah. Well, you say it and go, "Nah, I'm just kidding." Once you benefit from it, and the benefit being he got to leave without paying for his gas, sucks to be you, dude. That charge is. I support it. Yep, 100%. And then, now I will say, because he is a sex offender, his reasoning, assuming it's true for what happened, makes sense. In just the interest of being fair, He says he was at a bar. He met a girl. She was drinking beer. She had a wristband on that, showed she was of age. There was no reason for him to believe that she was under the age of 21. They did some, a little hugging and kissing, probably a little more than that. No actual sex, I believe. But things happen. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out she was 15. Now, the question becomes, is it a defense in Florida? Because some states it's a defense, some states it's not. Is it a defense that there's no way he would have known? Or did he find out after the fact or before the fact and keep going? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if they're making out and she goes, I'm 15 by the way, and he goes, I don't care. We're already doing this. That's a huge problem. Now, he pled guilty to it. The question is, did he plead guilty because he did meet the elements of the statute and he didn't have a good defense and what he's telling me is wrong? Or did he plead guilty because if he had been found guilty by the court, if he had been adjudicated guilty and he pled innocent, his charge would have been much, much worse. I think he took a plea deal for that, which might have been his best option. So, I mean, people want to look at that and go, this man's awful. He pled guilty. Of course he did it. But it's actually a little more complicated than that. And in the interest of fairness, I do like putting that out. I'm not defending him, but I'm saying as someone who has investigated sexual assaults and assisted agents with rape investigations, they're very complicated legally. Like, the legal aspect of it is incredibly complicated. So... Mm-hmm. I put that out there because a lot of people don't realize that, and they think sexual assault is an open shut, real easy to do. It's not. So I put that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, because with that case, with the whole going to the club and knowing that nobody knew that she was 15. It's like, I mean, when I look at that and I look at that case, I mean, first things first is like, yeah, the age is not going to change. She is 15.
No, yeah.
But it's like, why wasn't there any quote unquote? I mean, this is just opinions. I'm not trying to defend what he's done or whatnot. This is just my opinion. But in my opinion, wasn't the girl also in trouble by that? Just because?
Oh, if she could have been. Here's the problem. Since she is a juvenile, that case is locked up. I can't get anything that I'm looking for about her and what happened.
Okay.
Because she's a juvenile, it's basically sealed. Well, I don't know if it's sealed, but everything that I want is redacted. So that's the issue is I can't give more information on this because there isn't more information on this that would be available to me.
Right, because with the judges and everything, they'll probably be like, no matter what, it doesn't change if she faked it or not. We're just going to have to go with what the book says, and that's it. It happened. Mm-hmm. He's a sex offender.
No, I can request for it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, in my opinion, it's just certain bad luck. I'm not sure if it's bad luck. I'm not sure, like I said, I wasn't there. But in my opinion, I think it was just like, maybe that one time was bad luck. Maybe he did know and he just went along with it. We don't really know the full story to it. But in my personal opinion, I just look at that. I'm just like, wow, like if he just didn't go to that club that night, he probably would have not had that charge. It's just things like that I think about,
Mm-hmm.
Like if he didn't go to that club, he probably would have been safe. But, things happen. I've gotten myself in trouble in the past with a few things too. I mean, so it's like suspended license I got in trouble with. But we've all done some dumb things in the past. And then that's the thing is like, we look back at that and we're like, oh, okay, it was a dumb thing we did back then. Now it's time to change. But, going back to Jeremy, it's like, he's got to go do things differently,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is like, if it wasn't for him going to that nightclub, he probably would have been fine. But things happen. So, I was looking at your video about the interview with Jeremy DeWitt, and he told you that the company started up, he says, believe it or not, by an insurance claim. I want my opinion on that is, okay, I believe that.
Sure.
But I also believe this guy's got incredible credit history, incredible ways of managing money. It's just like, wow, this guy's got a whole business going on.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got I looked at the thing where he went to go get gas. He goes, I'm out of gas. It's funny.
Yeah.
And he goes and gets gas, and his his wallet's full of credit cards, stacked up credit cards. I'm just like, this guy's probably got like an 850 credit score or something, because to pull all that equipment off, and I mean, you can get some stuff on eBay, which is probably going to be cheaper, but yet, man, it's like he's got a little bit of wealth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of it might come from his wife. I know he said he
I didn't
worked.
know that.
Yeah, someone was saying in the chat his wife's a doctor. I don't know if I can confirm that, but it might come from his wife.
I was looking at that too.
Yeah. He said that, I believe he said he had the money before the lawsuit, but the lawsuit just made it a lot easier. And he's like, well, now I have this money. I have been fired from my job because I've been in the hospital, so they had to let me go. I have to start something new. I've been thinking about this anyway. Now's the time. And so he started the company doing that. And that makes sense. I'll accept that.
Right.
But, I don't think he started his company the way that we see it now. But I think interactions with law enforcement where, they are allowed to do certain things that he is not, because they are law enforcement, they have the right lights, they have the authority. And he was working with them, and they said, hey, while you're with us, do it the same way.
Yeah.
And I think that when he was no longer with them, he said, well, if they let me do it before, I can keep doing it. And then they didn't stop him, because when they did try to stop him, he was very authoritative. And he's like, you don't know the statute. And they went, gosh, you're right. I don't know the statute. Maybe he is allowed to do this. We'll look into it, and let him go. And he goes, haha, that proves it. And then he kept doing it, and it escalated. I mean, 10 years is a long time for this to escalate. It is not unreasonable for it to have escalated to this point. But obviously, it escalated to the point where it is absolutely illegal. Certain aspects of it, not all of it, but definitely certain aspects of it. Where it's just like,
somebody in the chat saying that. Yeah, somebody in the chat saying he was a registered nurse, an RN.
Oh, that would be okay.
So
not
I
a doctor,
think that's
registered
what it
nurse.
is. So yeah, probably because of that.
Yeah,
there's
so
a lot of things where that started up that company. Yeah.
Yeah. So they would have been okay. Do we have confirmation of the lawsuit? Says Dreamer JS. I'm not sure which lawsuit that's in reference to, but it's going to be a while until the chat catches up to me saying that. But yeah, there's so much crazy stuff with this guy.
Honestly, yeah. The ambulance thing. What's it called in WWE? I'm not sure when was that aired.
I don't know.
Does anybody have an idea when that was aired? Like, because like that I watched WWE when I was like a kid. I was like. Back in 2009, 10, I used to watch WWE, Worldwide Wrestling Entertainment. Yeah, and it's like, man, like, he was just there at World Wrestling Entertainment at Raw and doing his, Metro State ambulance services.
Yeah.
The empty ambulance, that was funny.
This, I like, good for him, but absolutely hilarious. And then the guy who was driving it got arrested for having his license suspended, or charged with having his license suspended for failing to pay child support. Like, it doesn't end. Every time you're like, oh, this is interesting. It's like, oh, but hold on, there's a path that it goes down, and there's all sorts of stuff branching off of it. It's just,
you got a special assignment going on.
Yeah, like, and DeWitt's like, why are people targeting me? Because it's fascinating. How much is going on here? Like, it's just, every time we hear like a new person involved in this, it's just something like, it's like Diet Tiger King, right? Like, it's not at that level, but it's still like, oh, this new guy, what's he got going on?
Right.
Oh. Meanwhile,
I got.
Go ahead.
Into Tiger King too. Yeah, I gotta look into Tiger King too.
Tiger King is great.
Yeah, I gotta look into those too.
I have to do some investigating to Tiger King to get you guys some information on that. If you haven't seen it, it's a wild ride. I think I said it was 10 episodes. I don't think it's 10 episodes. I think it's like 7. That was yesterday. Yeah, Carol Baskins killing her husband. Why is nobody investigating that? He's so weird. For those of you who have seen Tiger King, just throwing this out there, watch David Spade's interviews. Watch the interviews with the people involved in Tiger King, because it gives you a lot of interesting information. A little less exciting, really good information. Anyway, but that's my Tiger King rant.
Yeah. Now back to Jeremy DeWitt.
Yeah. Back to him. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, like the reason why people are going into Jeremy Dewitte so much, and like I even got YouTubers around me that are like saying, you know, like I think I'm gonna mention this channel, but Rideshare Rookie is actually one of my buddies on YouTube. He's actually in Orlando, and it's funny because like he said that he loves watching Jeremy Dewitte too, because it's just so many stuff that goes on. The ambulance, the whole case is going on, impersonating a police officer. You got the whole the GS level stuff, and that when I saw that whole what's your GS level, I'm like, dude, like this guy showed so great of an authority. He tried to take control of that situation. I think you mentioned that before, where he tried to take control of the situation so much, and it's like, wow, you know, I would look at that and be like, whoa, this guy's serious. Like if nobody would have told me anything about mental state, I would have been like, oh, this guy is the real deal here.
Yep.
Definitely do not mess with him.
If you took the Florida officer that arrived to that whole incident, and you took DeWitt, and you put them together, moved them back 20 feet, and asked me to pick out which one is the real police officer, I would not be able to do it.
Right.
Well, maybe I would, but I would.
Well,
I'd have to review a lot.
Saying, right?
Yeah, no, the average person I don't think would be able to do it. I don't know that I would be able to do it. I like to think that I would, but honestly, I have some doubts.
It would probably take you a few minutes to figure that out, because I mean they all look the same, you know.
Yeah, and that's his intent.
The bags and everything.
His reasoning is like, look, there are two reasons we wear this uniform. One, the client wants it. They want a police-style uniform. Okay, that makes sense. Two, and this is coming out in the interview that I'm trying to release today. We do, sometimes it's a little dangerous for us. You know, we provide funeral escorts for anyone. That includes people who died from overdoses on drugs, and the dealers are still looking for that money because they never paid them before they died, right? And then they try to get into the funeral. But they're not going to want to try to get into the funeral if that funeral is surrounded by people who look like police officers. Okay, present a hard target. That makes sense. But if you're going to do that, you have to be incredibly careful and not order people around. Because if you're trying to look like a police officer, and the intent is to make people think, because he's basically admitted his intent was to make people think that he is a police officer, right? Okay.
Right.
But the moment that you start issuing orders, that's a crime. The moment.
Yeah.
And he is issuing orders.
The tickets.
Yes.
That will get you in trouble for sure. No doubt about it.
Yep.
You know?
And it has.
And they have, yeah. And one other thing I just want to say too, my opinion here is that if my client asked me to do illegal stuff, am I going to really do it? Like if I had if I had somebody tell me, like for example, let's say if I ran like a company like Metro State, that they tell me, hey, I want you to go ahead and shut down this part of the street. I just go, wait, I can't do that. You know, I understand you're requesting me to act within that authority, but I can't do that per Florida statute. Yeah. Man, it's like I mean, I get it. I think the reason why psychologically, and I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just saying, in my opinion, the reason why it happens, like these type of stuff, the reason why it happens is because it's a feel-good process. You do one thing that you'll get a good result out of, good result. Like for example, like wearing that police uniform makes you feel good, makes you feel you have authority. With that type of stuff, this is what I think that's going on in his head, is that, hey, if I wear his uniform and I'm doing a funeral escort, people are going to take me with respect. And I think that's what comes with his thought process of, hey, I got to dress as if I were the police officer. Not that I am a police officer, but if people were to see me like, okay, look, this guy's serious, you need to give this guy some respect. Because I think him wearing like a big, bright pink sweatshirt, or like not sweatshirt, it's Florida. I mean, shirt. I think people will be like, yeah, these are just like volunteers for a funeral escort. They're not going to say, yeah, let's just. I mean, I will say though, with funeral escorts here in Illinois, I think the hearse. I think that's the vehicle. The front of the vehicle that leads the funeral will have, for some reason, police horns, or a horn, yeah, but not the sirens. They'll just have the police horn, the one you hear from like any other cop, you know. So That's what I hear, because I actually was in a funeral escort. Not that I was the one leading it or anything, but when we went through that red light, all I hear is like a police horn, not a siren, a horn, and I'm just like, oh crap, they can have that, and they have just bright white lights. Yeah.
No, he cannot have that.
Wait, no, like the cop horn is what I'm saying, not the siren, the horn.
Oh, the sort of a honking. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, not the sirens, just
Gotcha.
No, this ain't Metro State Part 2. But no, it's just like with the funeral escort, that's what I heard, and I was like, oh, okay, we can have that. Okay, it's like, but that funeral car had the white lights.
Mm-hmm.
I think here in Illinois, per Illinois statute, I think we can have that. I'm not really sure. I'm not really good with these laws here in Illinois, even though I lived here all my life. But I know for a fact that I think funeral cars have more of a privilege to, lead a funeral procession with, white lights and the cop horn. Like basically, to alert everybody, hey, we're a funeral, escort. But the thing with the funeral escorts, and I look at Jeremy's DeWitt thing with Metro State, their their funeral escorts are really fast. They're never slow.
That's something.
You look here in Illinois, it's slow, but
in
Florida, it's fast. It's like a Corvette fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's something I've brought up. As trying to put this appropriately, and in a well put together sort of thing. If I were running a funeral escort, I would be going slower than the rest of traffic. Right, that would do two things. One, it would indicate that these vehicles are, there's something different about them. Right, they're all supposed to have their hazards on, so clearly there's something going on. You'd be able to close the distance between vehicles so that people couldn't slip in. And if you're going slower than the rest of traffic, people aren't going to want to slip in unless they're actually trying to cause harm to the funeral. Which, hey, there's not a gap; you don't have to worry about that. Also, what that would do is if you're leapfrogging, basically you're holding an intersection, which there's no problem if you stop your bike or whatever in the intersection, keep the lights on so that people see the lights and they stop and then you keep moving. The moment you start, go this way, go that way, pull over, that's a concern legally, right? But if you're going slowly, you don't have to do what's been happening, which is going incredibly fast to get to the next intersection. At that point, you can match the flow of traffic and get to the next intersection. And because your funeral escort, the funeral that you're escorting is going slower, you should be able to do that without actually breaking the law. That is the way that I would run it. And then I would have none, hopefully, of the issues that are currently being brought up. That would solve half the problems right there, is go slow.
Yeah, because funeral escorts, I mean, they're, in my opinion, the most saddest thing you can do. When you see a funeral escort, you're thinking, wow, that was someone's time. It's not a Mission Impossible where you have to go ahead and pull people over that go ahead and say, they talk back to you saying, oh, I don't care if I cut this funeral procession. I mean, it's just like, funeral escorts are the saddest thing you can ever see. It's like somebody, I get it that we're all human beings, are born and they're dead later. But I mean, if we think about it, they're supposed to be a peaceful thing. They're supposed to be slow. They're not supposed to be fast. And I think with, APRs is in Germany, guys. I mean, they're saying APR is Germany, but he's not.
No, you keep going. I'm paying attention. I'm just putting some fonts in there.
Yeah, it's interesting. The chat's also like trying to chime in here too, and I feel bad,
Right.
So it's like, yeah. But like with funeral escorts, I mean, we should all respect funeral escorts. I get that, so that's somebody's loved one right there, that passed away, and there's a reason why Metro State exists, and I think that's a great idea what they're doing. But I think Florida is going to be like really stricter on these funeral escorts because Florida doesn't want that reputation. Nobody does. Of saying, hey, Florida is one of those things where you can be redirecting traffic when you're in a funeral escort. No, that's not how it is. And even Germany says it's not how it is. So it's like, I mean, Florida's gonna be really tough on that. Yeah, and like I think Jason Peters is saying, the horn is fine, the siren is not.
Right.
So that is one thing I will agree to. It's like, yeah, the horn is fine. I see that here in Illinois, but not the siren. The siren is definitely not allowed because at that point you're going into different levels.
Yeah.
As Jeremy says, GS levels. That's a joke, but yeah. But yeah, I mean that's the thing with the funeral escorts. It's just they just got to be a little bit more clear or a little bit more clarity on what they should do.
Right.
And that's pretty much what just needs to be fixed up on Metro State. Yeah.
No, I will say, and this is something that APR just brought up. People don't recognize that. He says that this has been addressed in the first interview I did with him. This all sounds great on paper. However, in a city like Orlando, where you have countless, people keep typing, it moves. In a city like Orlando, we have countless people who aren't even licensed. It is a major risk, and I get that it's a major risk. Which is again why you move slow, so that the risk is easier to mitigate. And I get that you want to direct traffic, but that's just not something you can do. And if it's a risk, maybe you need more officers on it. And if that's not possible, then maybe the funeral escort business isn't an appropriate business to be running, unfortunately. Now this is I'm siding with the law on this one. I'm not saying, right or wrong, the way it's done. I've never done a funeral escort. But the way the law is written, laws are being broken here. On paper, this sounds good. I do believe that in person, it's a different story. However, I am a firm believer that slowing the funeral procession down would solve a lot of problems. And I get it. A lot of people don't even know this is a thing in Florida, this funeral statute. Great. But they're going to figure out that there's something different if there's a slow group of vehicles that are moving with all their hazards going, right? They're going to figure it out, one would hope.
Right. In Illinois here, like when we have funeral escorts, including that myself, that I was actually in one. I mean, here people understand like, oh, there's a funeral. You'll see the big orange or yellow or big red stickers that say funeral. They'll even have flags on every vehicle that you'll see. And I even got a picture of one of my former cars that I had. But it was a big square orange funeral lettering on it, and it's like people are gonna look at it and be like, okay, it's a funeral. And that's the thing. And like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I actually called my city's police department, and I said, hey, can you guys do a funeral escort for me? They said, we don't do that. That's only for people that are in the military that actually passed away or were former cops that passed away. We don't do that for regular citizens. And the operator told me too that you guys are fine without an escort. Like you guys, and like I said, this is Illinois. This is not Florida. You guys are fine with the escort. They're not even the red light cameras. They won't even care because they'll look at the footage and be like, okay, it's a funeral escort. Let's not ticket every single car that goes through that red light.
Sure.
So, and even if that does happen, you just go and you say, hey, I'm in a funeral escort. Okay, you're good to go. No $100 ticket. So that's how much it costs here.
Yeah, that's a real good way of arguing that ticket. Say, hey, we were in the funeral. We had to go through that light.
And even if you do got to show proof, I think the funeral home will actually show proof of that too. Say, hey, no, this guy was in a funeral escort. Anyways, but that's going a little bit off topic. But yeah, like I think people will know that it's a funeral escort. Now with Florida, it's a different ballpark. I've never been in Florida. I've been in Tampa. I've been in Tampa and I've been in Orlando. I've been in Clearwater. But the fact of the matter is that if Metro State is needed, I think what just needs to be cleared up is just the way they do a little bit of business. And after that, it's fine, I mean, I get that. Escorts are legal. I mean, APR is saying right here that, they are legal. I get it. But it's just, they just need to be cleared up a little bit with what they need to do.
He says,
because like I said,
go ahead. Go ahead. All right.
He's saying in the chat. I was going to read his comment.
You go. Yeah.
That's why.
Go for it.
He's saying to everyone asking, I've already had 2 interviews with Blue.
Yes.
Escorts are legal. However, in my opinion, the statute is too ambiguous.
Yes.
which can work either way. And I will agree, yes. You could interpret it in two different ways. You could say, hey, you can have either or, or you can have or the purple or amber light. But
yes.
here's another comment he's saying. He said, yes, primarily one in the front and one in the backwards, with the exception of one merging on-off expressways, etc.
Sure.
So, yeah, I get that. I understand. Like I said, he's the one running the business, or is in Metro State. So I get that. So in my opinion, I think in Florida there should be a Metro State. There should be a funeral escort in the way how it's supposed to be run. It's just, if you clear it up, you're good to go. There's no problem,
So I a few things touch on that. I mostly agree with you.
Okay.
In a lot of places, to include Orange County, the police will not do funeral escorts for anyone who is not part of a government agency. Okay. It used to be in Florida, in Orange County, they used to do it. You used to be able to call and say, hey, can I get a police escort for this funeral? And if they had people available, they would do it. Not anymore, because there was too much liability and the department didn't want to deal with it. So
right.
Other companies stepped in. Now, the other companies were able to do it anyway, but people are like, well, I want the real police. But without them, it really worked out well in the favor of people like Jeremy DeWitt and companies like Metro State. He is not the only company that does that. There are a lot of other companies out there that are also getting this statute wrong and doing things they should not be doing. I will absolutely say that. Here's why we know so much about Jeremy DeWitt and what he's doing. He wore a body camera. He recorded all of it, or a lot of it. So we have that footage. We have that evidence. That's why he's the target right now, because we know a whole lot about it. We don't know a whole lot about these other companies, because while there is some footage, it's not at the level of footage, to my knowledge, that he has had, or that existed from him. But moving on from that, the statute can be interpreted in a few ways. But my recommendation is that if a statute's a little ambiguous, interpret it in the manner that will get you in the least amount of trouble if you are wrong.
Right.
And that's
definitely true.
That's the advice I can give.
Yeah, because he's saying here it's a needed service. And I think it is a needed service. Like I said, funeral escorts with companies, yes, they are needed in Florida. I don't know about Illinois. People do funeral escorts here all the time. There's no problem. We do it. We do it without companies. But in Florida, maybe, yes. So I get why APR is saying that, and I totally agree with him. Now, I will say the one thing I don't agree with him is the fact that, we got problems running in with citizens saying, hey, I think your company did this and your company did that. And I actually want to touch on a topic now that we're on this thing, the phone call conversation that Jeremy did. Now, I did not know in Florida that if you record a phone call in Florida, it's illegal. I mean, here in Illinois, it's just, in my opinion, we say all the time, yeah, phone calls are being recorded and whatnot. But I mean, like, if I'm recording like my friend's conversation and I'm just making a video about it, I never got in trouble for it, Like, I don't think, I mean, it's Florida, it's different statute, but here, I record phone calls once in a while, and I make it in the form of a video or a song, and I don't get in trouble. So it's just kind of weird how in Florida it's illegal. Now, I did look up the statute, and it turns out that, if you wiretap, you record something, and in my opinion, I just think what they did there was pretty much by the book. You know, you record a phone call with a video, and you save it with intentions of maybe distributing or something. That's probably why I got him in trouble, And with that warrant too, where they had to go in his computer and find all these files, and this is what created this whole, we wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for that body cam. And I agree with that. With him recording that phone call, it's like, I didn't know it was illegal. So, I mean, I didn't know that. That's one of the interesting things I found out about Florida, is you can't record phone calls unless there's a consent or something to it.
No, it's definitely a good point. He has a good legal defense for that, for his recording of a phone call, though. That his body camera is always on. He didn't, intentionally record the conversation. It's just that he records everything. And I don't know if that will work, but it's not a bad attempt.
Right. not. Yeah, and oh yeah, Angela, thank you for saying that you love the song. Everybody loves the song, and it's really heartwarming to hear that from comments. But all right, but back on the phone call conversation. Yeah, like I didn't know that. Well, I mean, with his defense, saying that okay, he can record it because it was on all the time. Maybe it's not a valid defense, but I will say that okay, don't most businesses record? Don't they say, hey, before you call, make sure that that this is a recorded phone call for monitoring and business purposes?
Yes,
like,
they do that.
Have anything like that
for legal issues? Yes. Which is why when I call people, I try to make sure I go, hey, I'm doing a live stream, recording, whatever. I don't know the laws in the state. I know my state, I can't record anything without all parties' permissions involved, which is why I question a lot of radio shows that call people and go, hey, let's make you look like a fool, because there are a lot of states where there are shows like that, and this is off topic, but there are a lot of states that have shows like that where it's like, hold on a second, you're recording this person, do they know they're being recorded? And I think if they introduce themselves as a radio station, that's not a problem. But we have one here, 92.5 is the station, I think, and it's Brook and Jubal in the morning. And there's this show, and this is 100% off topic, but I've been frustrated about this for like a few weeks now because it popped in my head. So we're gonna hear it on the stream. Why not? My frustrations about this thing, mostly unrelated.
Yeah.
Right. They call people, and so this guy named Jubal, this is his last name.
Jubal and Brooke.
Yep.
Right?
So Jubal, he'll call someone and pretend to be someone else, and they'll have a good time. He'll sort of prank them, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is a radio show." Okay, well, what you just did was illegal because you recorded it and they didn't have permission. Unless, of course, the entire thing is fake. So either you're breaking the law or the entire thing is fake. And it's very frustrating either way.
Or he's probably got good lawyers, too.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Now, I've been tempted to be like, hey, someone ask him to call me and prank me. See if they'll actually do it. Because if it's all scripted, they won't do it. They'll just find someone else and no one will know the difference. But if they do call me, and I can, at the very end of it, he goes, "Oh, this is Brooke, or this is Jubal from Brook and Jubal in the morning. We're doing a phone tap on you or whatever." And I go, "Cool, that's illegal because you didn't request my permission." And just to see what happens, I'd love to do it. Anyway, I'm probably not going to do it. I just my 2 cents. Anyway, back on topic. Why not?
No, that's a good point there about the phone recording conversations, like from radio hosts. Like, what if, Jeremy DeWitt was on a radio show too, and it goes, hey, this is 96.3 and we want to give you your opinion, and Jeremy goes, oh, you don't have consent to record me and this and that. I mean, that'd be kind of funny to see, just to see like what he would say on his side of the story, if like people were to, I mean, he probably, poor Jeremy, dude, he probably gets a lot of people that call him,
Oh, I hate the idea. Like, look, as much as I dislike some of the things he's doing, I can't stand the idea of people calling him just to harass him.
Right. It's not right. It's not right at all. He's got a life to live. He's got to put food on the table.
Yeah.
He's got to
he's
make a living.
He's a person. Like, everyone's a person. Here's my concern. Like, what makes me mad at people is I'm willing to give people chances. Well, it makes me mad if what you're doing is wrong and you continue to do it, right? And he's sort of at that point where it's a little frustrating, like, Jeremy, what you're doing is wrong. But he has some reasonable explanations. Okay, cool. But if you know what you're like, I don't think a person is evil unless they are doing something with the intent to be evil, right?
Right.
I don't necessarily think DeWitt is a bad person. I think he's done bad things, and I hope that things can change. And I say that cautiously because I know a lot of people are going to be upset that I say that.
Right.
But yeah, it's a thing. It's a whole thing.
Right. And like I said, I don't wish any harm. I really don't. Like, I just want Jeremy to live his life and to live a good life and not have people harass him and this and that. And the one thing I want to mention here is the whole situation with the world, the thing that's going on. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most of his cases got halted because of that. Now, on the website, they did say that I think one of the cases has to go on because of some sort of reason or something. But the reason why I mention that is because he's probably right now, just chilling at home or whatever. He's probably, firing up a defense or something. He's probably doing something where, like I said, I don't, like, in my opinion, I don't want people to harass him. I don't want people to do bad things towards him and his company. But I just feel like what needs to happen is, like, if he needs, I hope he learns, hey, maybe what I did was bad, I'll change, and hopefully the next couple of months we'll probably look back at this and say, oh yeah, I remember Jeremy Dewitte. Oh yeah, he was bad back then.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be out of our heads eventually, like, for sure. This isn't a permanent thing. I'm gonna miss it.
No, I know, yeah.
But
same. But things gotta, things come and go,
Yeah.
That's for sure. It's but it is a big topic, so I'm gonna appreciate every second of it while I can, because
it's fascinating.
Interesting guy, dude.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, I should probably get going. Let everyone enjoy the last moments of their Easter. It is getting a little late.
Oh yeah, it is.
A great conversation, though.
7:34 where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It was a great conversation. We should do this again.
It's no, absolutely. We'll figure something out. We'll talk about other things.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta look into those other cases too, because I know for a fact that those are really important to talk about too. So
sure.
But all right, Blue Bacon, thank you so much for having me on the live stream.
Absolutely.
And make sure everybody likes this video too. Likes and shares this video.
Gosh, shucks. Yeah, if you haven't seen Jay Pavilion's video, go check that out. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah, check it out, guys. It's really fun. Trust me. All right, Motor One is out.
All right. Bye. All right, that was fun. So, for those of you who are wondering who that is he an employee of Metro State? No, no. Is he the guy that this entire live stream is about? No, but I warned you guys earlier that we're just going into random topics. He is someone who made a video that I thought was hilarious, and he's like, hey, can I call in? I went, you know what? Yes, you can. So, that's basically, Devil 93. We're about to do that once this is over. War Thunder, folks. We're about to get in. If any of you play War Thunder, by the way, let us know. I'll put the Discord in the chat. So, so he was someone who made a video. I liked it. I thought, let's see what he has to say about things. And so it was nice because I got to hear sort of directly how you guys are processing this. I've been doing a lot of research. My Discord, who I've just linked, has been helping me a lot with that. But it's really nice to hear what other people's concerns are and address it directly about this whole thing. So thank you so much, Jay Pavilion, for making that happen. I had a lot of fun doing that. He was definitely more direct about it than Staying Master, although I enjoy Staying Master's conversation. I know some of you were a little frustrated by the speed and tempo of it. Speed and tempo being basically the same thing. But I enjoyed it. We had a good time. Because that's me in the future. I'm telling you that right now. I did get your email, Radio Ditch. I haven't read it yet, but I can't keep talking for another million years because people get mad at me. APR. I will address APR. So APR is not Jeremy, folks, unless Jeremy is using APR's account, which I have no reason to believe. APR works for Metro State and is saying that having a siren installed isn't illegal. No, that's true. It is not illegal, to my knowledge, to have it installed. If it's used on a public roadway, that's where it becomes an issue. Now, there is video of Jeremy using it on a public roadway, so we can deduce that he did break the law by doing that. Just a thing. Yeah. So, hashtag talk forever. That's basically where I'm at. I'll tell you, though, my tactic for interviews and interrogation when it came to criminals was just talking to them till they couldn't stand it. That's not really technically true, but there was a lot of talking. I think my longest interrogation was 4 hours, which isn't huge. It was long, though. I think that guy hated me. I think he probably cut his own ears off after that one. It's like, I don't want to hear anyone anymore. Gah, Van Gogh. And Van Gone. All right. So, anyway. Any other questions before I get out of here? Because I've been talking for 2.5 hours. Oh my god. Paul Mooslol? I'm sorry, I just butchered that. Thank you so much. And everyone else who donated money, you guys are you're great. You guys are great. A lot of fun here. A lot of good times. Someone was asking me about the metal detector that I wanted to get, I think. I'm gonna throw that down. You know, why not? Because now that I've got enough for the drone, for the Gary Reachway searching shenanigans, not that I can actually do it because, don't go outside, the stuff's gonna start going towards the metal detector. Yeah, I haven't bought anything yet, but it's a Garrett Ace 250, which is a little pricey, but I poured over reviews, and I have some concerns about the fact that I'm going to find anything with a metal detector, but I'm not going to find anything without it. So, the Garrett Ace 250. We'll see. If I'm going to find anything, I'm going to need the equipment to do it. So, I am digressing. Yes, I am absolutely digressing. It's a whole thing. So, any other questions before I get out of here? I see a lot of you guys going after APR. Be nice. We're all friends here. I'm just gonna some little dead air for you guys right here. Good point, Kate. He does spell things differently, and if APR had any information on that, APR, you have my email. Feel free to throw that my way. Let me know if you do provide any information. It's fine if you don't. Just make sure I know whether or not it is information that could be made available to the public by myself. So on and so forth. When's the next show? Oh gosh. I'm not gonna do one tomorrow. But let's say Sunday. I think Tuesday I might be able to do one. I don't know what the topic's going to be. Depends on what I get in my emails. So, Sean, I'm working on it. You're gonna get. I'm trying to get you part 2. If I ever shut up and leave the stream, I'll try to get you part 2. I rendered it. I don't know if the render worked. I did that last night. And it took way longer than I expected it to, for some reason. I have pieced together a lot more of the audio. I just have to put it to the actual video. So I'm getting there. I'm not trying to make this as long as it is, and it frustrates me quite a bit. So, but yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on that interview. And let's see, what are you guys saying? Yeah, no, for those of you who are talking to APR, from what I understand, from what I talked about with him, is they are making a lot of changes that it's great, right? Which is exactly what I was saying before. Is I wish they had accepted those changes earlier. I know there were concerns that the police were just unfairly targeting them, so they might not have taken this as seriously in the beginning. I get that. But they are working to stay in compliance now. And I have nothing but respect for that, because that's the right thing to do. I can't be mad about that. And although it is frustrating to see some employees in Metro State doing some of the things they are doing, I do hope the company survives. I hope that the justice system works appropriately. Whatever the result is. I'm not saying I hope he goes to jail or hopes he goes free, but I hope that whatever information they're getting shown is used effectively, because I'm sure there's a lot of information that we are not seeing. And I hope next time I'm in Florida, which may never happen, who knows, I hope to see them still operating. I really do. For those of you who are, there's someone, speaking of me in Florida, all right, I'm thousands of miles away from Florida. People are like, oh, look at you in your interview with DeWitt. You're obviously best buds. When are you going to go, be part of their funeral escort? And I'm like, why would I? They're like, why wouldn't you? 3,000 miles away. I actually don't know how many miles. It's thousands. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. And I'd love to be a part of it, honestly. I'm not on a bike. I don't ride motorcycles. Don't know how. Never learned. Never lived in a state where it would have been a good idea to own a motorcycle, just based on the weather. But, in a car, I'd check that out, get a first-hand account and view of what was happening, and report back to you guys. Unfortunately, I can't go anywhere because of the global pandemic. But, yes. And I'll tell you guys, APR, what he's told me that he's done to make sure that Metro State survives and is doing the right thing is absolutely in the right direction. Is absolutely what I would have expected they would be required to do. And if that's what they're doing, fantastic. I encourage you not to attack him. I do think he's trying to do the right thing, but understand that we're seeing this, and I'm saying this to be fair, right? We're seeing this. We're seeing the worst of the worst, right? And as a police officer, this is something that I have to account for. Is when I deal with people, I'm seeing the worst people, but I can't make the mistake of assuming all people are like that, or else I'm going to end up a bad cop. That's one of the things that makes bad cops. They just assume everyone's like that, and then they're just angry at everybody. We're looking at the worst parts, and they're not great. They are pretty bad parts, but you have to understand the people who've been working for this company, they've seen the good parts, and it's harder to turn against people that you care for, that you've worked with. Now, for us on the outside, it's real easy to say, this is black and white. How dare you defend them? But it's not black and white. It never is. It's very much a gray area because they have friends that are working there. This has been their life for some period of time. Of course, they're going to say, hold on a second. Yeah, there are issues, but they're not all of them are going to come out and say, this is the devil incarnate. Hell is erupting from the earth. So it's APR is going to have some hold on a second, guys. Let me defend this for a second. Of course he's going to do that, and that's fine. I just don't go after him. Right now, voice your concerns, but I encourage you to remain professional. Don't become merbites and just start attacking people, please. Look, okay, so that was me being nice. On the other hand, there are some serious issues that need to be addressed. But association with the company does not make you a bad person. The company is not a bad company. It's being run, personally, I think, in a way that is bad. As I try to remain unbiased. But I think the company can survive. With the changes that are being made by APR and others, I think it can survive. And I am very grateful to people like APR for listening. I'm a big fan of people realizing they're wrong, listening, and changing their ways. If you ever hear me talk about auditors, you'll realize that the ones I do not like are the ones that are not willing to listen. If you make a mistake about the law, cool. That is an opportunity for someone like me to teach and for someone like them to learn. It's the ones that refuse to learn that I have issues with. Same with, Metro State. I appreciate the ones who are willing to listen and make those changes. So, and with APR saying poor leadership choices, I'm going to be cautious responding to that. But what I will say, if I can say it, words are hard. It's understandable. It's not right, but it's understandable how those leadership decisions got to the point that they are. And I think that will help in a legal defense. I don't think it's going to beat it, but I think in the case of at the very least sentencing, if it gets that far, it's going to be an effective tool. in the case. Am I IRS? God, absolutely not. You don't know the amount of paperwork IRS has to do? I use TurboTax. I don't know how to do taxes. But oh yeah, let's put me on Twitch, man. Put me on Twitch. Anyway, I really do have to go. I've been rambling forever. Yeah, First Amendment auditors. What did I say? Did I say First Amendment auditors? My tongue needs a rest. I don't know if I have any beer. I do have vodka. I don't advocate for drinking though. Unless you're 21, and that's the thing you do. I mean, you're an adult. Go for it. All right. Goober. The law is vague. Anyway, I'm not going to address that. You guys have been great. I've had a lot of fun doing this. I didn't expect this to last 2 hours and almost 50 minutes now. But I can't help it. You guys ask such good questions. And then, of course, people who call in. I have a ton of fun. So, thank you, everyone who donated. Thank you, everyone who got involved, who was talking, who was asking questions. And I hope to see you the day after tomorrow. And with that, until the next time, be good and stay safe. If I can figure out which button to press. All right, be good and stay